Good morning. Thank you for being with us. It's Good Morning Kenya, the show on air right now on KBC Channel 1. Now, today the President has finally seated a 7-member team that is going to be forming the IEBC selection panel. It's now down to work. Apart from that, what are some of the intrigues now that ANC, that is Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi ally Cleophas Malala, that is former senator of Kakamega, is now the Secretary General of UDA. What does that mean for the ANC party as well as Mudavadi? Is ANC folding? Now, that is some of the things that we'll be taking a look at later on with my analyst coming shortly. That is Junior Omulo, who is the party ANC Political Party Affairs Director General, as well as Crispus Wathimba, who is political expert and analyst, who will be joining me later in studio so that we can take a look at that and much more. But right about now, let's get the show on the road. Doreen, good morning.
Good morning to you and also our viewers from whichever part you're watching this program from in different parts of the country. And even as we speak, the fate of junior secondary school learners still hangs in the balance. This is after parents are also resorting to just take their children back home because learners are in school and there are no teachers. 9.8 billion which the government is supposed to release still yet to reach schools. 15,000 capitation for each student still yet to reach the students. So what really is the fate of these learners? You remember also parliamentarians did talk about this matter some time last week, saying that maybe it's about time we relook this CBC altogether. Nonetheless, later on the show, on our health segment, we look at the disease burden of kidney, just where we are as a country as far as, sort of like mitigating or taming or even looking for better treatment plans, making treatment better for patients as far as this disease is concerned. And this just comes from that particular report that was released by NHIF in 2021 that did indicate 2.8 million is the amount they used when it comes to funding of the kidney disease, and slightly above 300,000 Kenyans is the number of Kenyans who would go for the kidney transplant. So really, what is being done even by the different stakeholders as far as kidney disease treatment is concerned? That is what we look at from 9 a.m. Stick around for that. Many thanks for making time. I'm Doreen Arange Okello. Good morning.
And remember, this morning, we are coming to you live from the broadcasting house here.
Ram, wake up. Ram, wake up. Good morning.
Good morning, Victor. Good morning.
Okay.
Tonight.
I
was thinking of things I was doing last night.
Okay.
So, good morning. We are live from the broadcasting house. This whole crew, we have a lot in store for you right here on Good Morning Kenya. Now, today, we shall be having a look at just a fuse between radio and TV, okay? As we always do every Tuesday, we shall be heading over to Radio Taifa, where we shall be having a conversation with Honorable Francis Mwagangi Kilonzo, who is the Deputy Governor of Machakos County. He shall be joining us in a bit from KBC Radio Taifa. We shall be having hashtag Zinga together with the hashtag Good Morning Kenya. That beautiful fuse, as we shall be having a discussion with none other than Dora Manya on matters concerning devolution and development. Keep talking to us. Our social media handles are up and running. The hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. And of course, the official station handle is at KBC Channel 1. My name is Ram Aguko. Good morning, Kenya.
Good morning, Ram. It's good that you have emphasized that, it's morning and not night, but many may be confused because the sun is yet to be clearly out. But given that we are working on a 24-hour economy, well, it might be as well, we can say it is night somewhere across the world. But here in Nairobi, we are just in time for comprehensive sunrise news on Good Morning Kenya. I'm Regina Manyara. The LGBT debate continues raging, with a section of leaders actually questioning its constitutionality. We'll be putting this into perspective as we proceed in this particular broadcast. Just to remind you that we expect and value your feedback. Official station handle is at KBC Channel 1 on Twitter. Mine is at Ray Manyara. Now let's start us off with stories that have been making headlines in the last 12 hours, and we start off with matters of IEBC. We are now embattled IEBC Commissioner Irene Masit has 10 days to appeal the decision or accept the verdict of the Agri Muchelule-led tribunal that recommended her removal from office. In its report, the tribunal argued that the accusations leveled against Masit were actually proven.
After months of hearing of whether embattled IEBC Commissioner Irene Masit is guilty over the events surrounding the 9th of August election, the tribunal handed over its report to the president, recommending her removal from office. The tribunal in its report further says evidence presented proved that Masit had violated the constitution during the 2022 general elections.
Your Excellency, the findings derived from the investigations have satisfied the tribunal that the allegations of serious violation of the constitution and other laws and gross misconduct have been proved to the required standard to qualify our recommendation for the removal from office of Commissioner Irene Cherop Masit. I'm now pleased to present the tribunal's report on findings and recommendation to you.
Her fate now in the hands of the president. The president saying the move will serve as a reminder to public officers to always uphold the spirit of the constitution.
Officers who serve in offices like this must realize that as they discharge their mandate, they must do it in accordance with the Constitution, and they must perform. The only guidance being the expectations of the Constitution. Extra constitutional considerations, persuasions, and other issues undermine the spirit, the letter, and the whole constitutional framework of our country. I am hopeful that in future processes and institutions will be built that have sufficient competence and build on the firm foundation of the law and the Constitution so that they can withstand any influence or threats or all manner of blackmail that sometimes accompanies public office, and be able to discharge their responsibility in a fair and in a just manner.
Masit is among 4 IEBC commissioners suspended from office by President William Ruto following recommendations by the National Assembly's Justice and Legal Affairs Committee to probe their conduct. The others included former Vice Chairperson Juliana Cherera, former Commissioners Justice Nyangaya, and Francis Wanderi. The 3, however, resigned, leaving Masit, who stood her ground that she was innocent of the allegations leveled against her. Following the report, Masit now has 10 days to either accept the verdict or appeal the decision at the High Court.
And you can bet that in those 10 days, we will be giving you an update in regard to which direction embattled IEBC Commissioner Irene Masit there takes. Now let's focus on party politics, where there are new changes in the United Democratic Alliance, whereas Embu Governor Cecily Mbarire takes up the mantle as the new interim party chair, replacing Johnson Muthama, while former Senator Cleopas Malala takes up the role of interim Secretary General at UDA.
During Monday's National Executive Committee meeting held in Nairobi, the party picked former Kakamega Senator and gubernatorial candidate Cleopas Malala to the position of Secretary General, but on acting capacity.
Hawezi fanya kuwa katibu mkuu wa chama kama wewe ni mwanachama wa chama kingine. Mimi ni mwanachama wa United Democratic Alliance Party.
Malala was a member of the ANC party until his appointment to the UDA party top leadership.
Ndugu yangu Aaron hapa alikuwa kwa chama cha Jubilee Alliance. Akatoka kule, sasa hivi yeye ni leader of majority wa chama ya UDA na Kenya Kwanza. Huyu Ichungwa alikuwa kwa chama ya Jubilee na TNA. Na huyu alikuwa Wiper. Na wengine hapo alikuwa KANU. Sasa mimi sio wa kwanza.
The former senator now replaces Veronica Maina, who was nominated to the Senate.
I have taken up duties as a nominated senator, and I will be pushing more energy in my new role as a nominated senator.
Embu's Governor Cecily Mbarira is now party's interim chairperson, taking over from Johnson Muthama, who resigned to take up a role at the Parliamentary Service Commission.
We found a party which had a book membership of 53,000 members, a party we have built to a very impressive over 8 million members.
Hassan Omar, who is currently the East African Legislative Assembly MP, has been picked as the party vice chairperson.
That we'll be able to outlive the Ruto administration and the successor administrations, so that we become a party for now and the future. Mine and others is to build a party that is based on an ideology, that is based on an idea, that is based on an economic revolution. Sisi tuambia wale watu wa maandamano, political freedom, political rights have to a large extent been achieved. Give us the time to deliver the economic revolution.
Others appointed include Japheth Nyakundi as the treasurer and Vincent Munyaka as the organizing secretary.
UDA party is preparing for the grassroots elections, which will be conducted at every polling center across the 47 counties. And we have issued a notice to that effect.
All the new officials will serve in an interim capacity until UDA's leadership elections are held.
Thank you. I want to give this opportunity now to our Deputy Chair, Nicholas.
Now, those particular changes within UDA are set to set the conversation, or rather the ball rolling, when you talk about matters of politics in not too long, as Victor engages his panel. What does this mean for ANC party? Also, what does this mean for Musalia Mudavadi as far as matters of politics are concerned? And there are those who opine that Johnson Muthama might have just kept his position, while others say that his position there at the Parliamentary Service Commission is a sign that Muthama is slowly, edging out of elective politics. Well, time will tell, and the conversation will be coming up in not too long. Now let's speak on matters health, where healthcare workers have threatened to down their tools if their grievances are not addressed by the government. Under the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers, the health workers cite, among other things, the official recognition, recruitment and absorption of medical interns by the Health Ministry, as well as the employment and deployment of more doctors.
The members of the joint health unions assembled at Green Park Terminus to begin their peaceful demonstrations across the city streets to push for their grievances. The healthcare workers will later march to the Ministry of Health headquarters at Afya House to hammer their point home. Here, the healthcare workers lamented what they termed as a neglect of healthcare workers by the parent ministry, claiming that they had requested the posting of interns whose 3-year UHC staff contract had expired, and are now urging for them to be absorbed or compensated accordingly.
Why is it that it's very difficult for us in the health sector to be able to get what is right free hours and the money that we're asking for, so that you can be able to do justice and you can stop discrimination for these workers? It's only 3 billion.
First, we have the cohort that was posted for 1 year. They were given personal numbers, entered in the Ministry of Health system. If they are given any interview anywhere, they cannot be able to be given jobs because they are already in the system.
The health workers vowed to down their tools and mobilize countrywide demonstrations if their grievances are not met.
But if that is not going to happen, we are all of us going to down our tools until we can be heard, because we have been trying to get audience from December up to now. We have not gotten any response to our letters.
From here, the health workers marched to Parliament buildings and handed over their petition to Seme Member of Parliament James Nyikal.
I support that what the health workers are looking for is justified, is legal, and actually they should be listened to.
All that the healthcare workers are asking is for the government to intervene and help them sort the issues that they have raised.
3 billion shillings they're being demanded by medical practitioners there, saying that they need to be moved if they had been contracted under the UHC and now they want to be permanent and pensionable. Now, to the raging debate on LGBTQ, following a ruling giving the green light for the registration of the gay rights body, is continuing to elicit debate with a cross-section of leaders, arguing that it will have a negative effect on the moral fabric, while others have questioned its constitutionality.
Speaker Moses Wetangula has joined the fray of leaders expressing concern on the court's rulings. In a tweet, he faulted the judgment by the Supreme Court, saying Kenya is a deeply religious country. Wetangula further called on all public institutions, including the judiciary, to uphold and defend the moral fabric. The Speaker joins the litany of voices that have faulted the decision, terming it a dangerous precedent. Homa Bay Town MP Peter Kaluma has indicated that he will be sponsoring a bill to prohibit homosexuality and its promotion in what he says will enhance Article 45, subsection 2 of a constitution to protect the family unit. Kiambu woman Rep. Anwa Muratha has also intimated that she will also be tabling a motion in Parliament seeking to criminalize homosexuality. The Evangelical Alliance of Kenya Sunday condemned the decision by the Supreme Court, saying it is against religious, cultural and moral values, and have called on Kenyans to stand up against the judgment.
This ruling is not only repugnant but also despicable, sinful, immoral, and against acceptable Kenyan culture and natural order.
With Attorney General Justin Muturi already having intimated that he will be seeking a constitutional interpretation on the decision, and as Kenya joined the world in commemorating the World Non-Governmental Organization Day, marked on the 27th of February, the National Council for NGOs says it will be seeking to be enjoined in the appeal by the AG, calling for a national conversation on the debate.
We are calling for a national dialogue on the subject because through the dialogue, we can be able to relook at our laws. We relook at our way of doing things. Because if we are not careful, everybody outside there will use our laws to bring even things that we may not want as a society.
That is a debate that is still raging. We invite your views in regard to that particular ruling. Remember, our Twitter handle is at KBC Channel 1. What is your take in regard to that Supreme Court ruling? Is it justified? Are you also having the questions on the constitutionality of it? What does it mean to the country's moral fabric? Get tweeting. My Twitter handle is at Ray Mandera, and the official station handle is at KBC Channel 1. Now, access to education, providing of funds for businesses, as well as remunerating unpaid care work done by women are some of the necessary interventions required to alleviate challenges faced by women. Now, speaking during the opening ceremony of the 2023 Women Economic Forum, Cabinet Secretary Gender and Affirmative Action Aisha Jumwa assured the public that the bottom-up economic model prioritizes implementing economic recovery strategies with women at the core.
As women struggle to close the gender parity gap,
women, because they earn less, they have fewer savings, they have a loose attachment to the labor market, they are disproportionately represented, in the informal economy. So they are always the worst hit.
In order to accelerate the achievement of gender equality, we need to consistently share our processes, our challenges, our lessons, and advocacy for the best practice.
Stakeholders in the women empowerment space hold that investing in women is a catalyst to economic growth, since they form over 50% of the population.
We are also looking at galvanizing women's voices through social movements and therefore building their ability to advocate for system and structural change.
It's quite more important for young women to also be involved. Kenya's median age is 19 years against a global value of 30 years. So young people need to be involved in the conversation because this is the time that they're building their futures, and their futures are in tandem with the building the future of the country.
Speaking at the opening ceremony of the 2023 Women Economic Forum, CS Gender and Affirmative Action Aisha Jumwa said the ministry is working towards an economic turnaround and inclusive growth with focus on women.
As we lay down our strategy, we must ask ourselves, what is it that we can do and who can we do it with?
Jumo urged women to utilize various digital platforms to enhance and acquire the economic freedom.
WEF LPO financing is available to women traders to facilitate the AGBO individual and groups to undertake procurement opportunities within government.
The Women Economic Forum, which was launched in 2021, is geared towards finding tangible solutions for challenges affecting women and girls in Kenya. This year's theme is getting women involved in Kenya's economic recovery.
Now, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has called for a strong partnership between the public and the private sector to unlock business potential that remains untapped. He was speaking after meeting the Aga Khan Development Network officials, where he said that a more robust approach to dialogue remains key for the country to thrive as a regional economic hub in a highly competitive environment.
Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi on Monday had a round-table meeting with leaders from Aga Khan Development Network to discuss ways of improving the economic status of the country. It is here that he underscored the importance of the public and the private sectors joining hands to better the lives of Kenyans.
We would like that to continue, and I would be happy as an old friend of the Aga Khan fraternity to be able to say that I'll be available and my office will be available where could exchange ideas.
They are a key partner in terms of supporting government, in terms of educating and informing the public, and we are ready to do that.
This even as he lauded the Aga Khan Development Network for partnering with the government to achieve the desired results. He has also called on the members of parliament to pass laws that will not have financial implications for the country.
For instance, there's the law we passed as a country, the arbitration law, where we desired to make Nairobi an arbitration hub, international arbitration hub. Even big democracies like the US, they looked at our performance contracting. We were ahead of them. They moved faster. They put it into legislation. And those of us who had actually started moving earlier as Kenya, we are now behind, yet they drew from our model. So we are in a situation where we start something good as a nation, as a people, and then we walk away from it and somebody else runs away with it.
Prime Cabinet Secretary there, Musalia Mudavadi, opining in regard to where the country should be headed in as far as matters of economics and trade are concerned. Now we look at Mandera, where the government has received a boost in its cholera response following a donation of an assortment of medical supplies. Additionally, the county received support to engage 100 community volunteers to scale up contact tracing, as well as a pledge of technical support to enhance treatment. At least 4 people have died and over 600 others were admitted in hospital with cholera-related symptoms.
Mandera County government has received an assortment of pharmaceutical and non-pharmaceutical supplies as it steps up its efforts to contain the disease reported in Mandera East, Mandera South and Mandera West.
Cholera is a very resource-intensive disease to contain, and the efforts of the county governments alone will not have been very sufficient.
The county's Long Cholera Treatment Center received 3 tons 80 beds, 60 dripping stands and 100 safety boxes, gumboots, surgical examination gloves, biohazard bags, packets of chlorine and boxes of pad.
As Red Cross Society, we have donated KRCS volunteers to support in community health education activity. Issue to do with prevention is one of the key things in regards to cholera intervention.
Speaking when receiving the donation, the county CEC, Dr. Mohamud Eda, welcomed the support, adding they plan on setting up a second facility.
We are glad that Kenya Red Cross has always been a responsible partner who is always among the first responders.
Kenya Red Cross Society Mandera Branch Coordinator Mustafa Aden pledged to continue supporting affected counties, urging residents to observe the health guidelines.
We are also deploying medical personnel that will support in running of those UTCs, and this will ensure that there will be no death at all.
Now we look at matters of business, where an audit of water infrastructure projects has been conducted across the country and funds will be redirected to priority projects after the Ministry of Water and Irrigation's budget has been slashed by 46.3 billion shillings. Water, Sanitation and Irrigation Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahoma says the reduced budgetary allocation will impede rainwater harvesting and conservation, which might affect the provision of water for irrigation and domestic use.
In January this year, the government announced austerity measures that targeted to save 300 billion shillings in the current financial year. The Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation says the austerity measures are likely to affect drought mitigation programs at a time when the country is still reeling from its effects.
It becomes very unrealistic and a huge task to expect that the ministry will be able to deliver on its mandate and expectations both of Kenyans and of course of Parliament, because Parliament must continuously call us to task, put us to task, and ask what we have done. So
she says the reduced funding has forced the ministry to divert essential funds meant to cater to key water provision infrastructure projects.
Is to deal with water resource management policy and standards, water treatment, wastewater treatment and disposal policy, water quality and pollution control, sanitation management, management of public water schemes, and community water projects, and then water harvesting and storage for domestic and industrial use. Mr. Chairman, as you can see, that is a very huge mandate, which will therefore require a huge budget.
The Cabinet Secretary says even though the ministry requires 117.4 billion shillings in the current financial year, allocation has been reduced to about 71 billion shillings, which might force the ministry to cut back on essential project funding, especially emergency ground resource funding.
Honourable members, you need to help your colleagues to tie this budget with the proposals that are coming to our office. And we shall continue receiving those proposals, Chairman. But again, this is the budget that we have presented. Even this budget is a far cry from the needs of the ministry.
On that one, okay, Madam CS, we hope you will succeed convincing the President to increase you more money, otherwise we'll continue launching for the relief foods.
What happens here?
The parliamentarians proposed that the ministry employs public-private partnerships to fill the deficit and to adopt new strategies in resource allocation for essential projects.
By now you should have come up with some serious proposals on the issue of PPP. Probably you will also update us on that issue, since we are the committee, I suppose, finally, who are supposed to work along with that program.
The government is seeking investors in the energy battery storage systems to first track Kenya's ambitious goal of moving to 100% electricity generation from renewable sources by the year 2030. Energy Cabinet Secretary Davis Churchill says the investment would help store the excess electricity generated by renewable energy sources like solar and wind during off-peak hours that is underutilized.
Kenya had an installed capacity of 3,074 megawatts as of June 2022, which includes 331 megawatts generated from wind and 51 megawatts from solar. The government says more could be generated from clean energy sources such as wind and solar if investments in storing that power is increased.
With storage really coming down today in batteries, we will see availability of solar in hybridization of solar and storage with cheap batteries, or the price of batteries coming down, significantly being more available, and amortization therefore being significantly much faster, or more bankable projects.
Chirchir says the utility-scale battery energy storage systems will help address issues within the national grid related to voltage instability, frequency regulation, load shifting, and network reliability.
So we'll see the cost of energy in renewable solar, wind coming down in the coming years because of technology move.
However, there is no current framework in place for the integration of BESS in the country's generation mix. The government is engaging development partners such as the World Bank to draft a policy on battery energy storage systems to spur investment.
In the case of Sub-Saharan Africa, we think that we will need about $91 billion to deliver on the mini-grid segment. And we also believe that this is going to require a combination of public and private sector participation.
The battery energy storage system is required in different locations such as the coast and western Kenya, which face inadequate transmission capacity, especially during peak hours.
Now to sports, and we start off with rugby, where the national rugby sevens team Shujaa will this weekend play Fiji, Uruguay and Great Britain in the Vancouver leg of this season's World Series. Shujaa has had a hard start, a difficult season actually, from the opening league in Hong Kong, managing to collect just a total of 22 points from the already played 6 legs of the season.
Kenya national sevens side Shujaa heads to Vancouver in search of a better performance compared to the first 6 legs of the 2022-2023 season. Shujaa only managed a single point in the latest leg in Los Angeles over the weekend, the second time they have collected a single point from a leg this season, with the first time coming in Hong Kong. Shujaa secured 3 points in Cape Town, 5 points each in Dubai and in Sydney, and their best performance was in Hamilton, where they managed to take home 7 points.
Yeah, the wave continues. Here comes the water buffalo. Doesn't he love playing in these conditions? Alvin Otieno lays it down. Fiji get a hand in. Two-way told to leave it. The water buffalo slides in. Don't you love it? Listen to the crowd.
They head to Vancouver hoping to better their performance this season, having been pooled with Fiji, Uruguay and Great Britain. In the last leg in Los Angeles, won by New Zealand, Kenya only managed 1 win, which came against Australia in the group stage of the tournament. They lost to Fiji and Japan in the other Pool C matches, before going down to Canada in the 9th place playoff quarterfinal, and then suffered another defeat at the hands of hosts United States in the 13th place semi-final.
Kenya with another 10-plus phase attack. Hamwa, 5 out. It is there for Otieno. The water buffalo feeds, and Kenya finally score.
Well, when you hear you're pitted against Fiji as well as Great Britain and Uruguay in the Vancouver League season of the Rugby Sevens, we can only wish our team the very best in that particular game, or rather leg, Vancouver League there, that is going to be taking place over the weekend. Now, let's look at what has been happening in the world of soccer. I know as a Manchester United fan, you'll not blame me if I remind you that we carried the cup for the Carabao Cup. We lifted the cup finally, while Chelsea lost also a game during the same time over the weekend. But now, let's look at what was happening yesterday in as far as Serie A and La Liga was concerned. So, under Italy Serie A, Hellas Verona lost to Fiorentina 3-0, while Lazio, they have scored a solitary goal against Sampdoria in the Serie A. Also looking at the Spanish La Liga, Villarreal there scored 2 against Getafe. Those were yesterday's results in as far as Serie A and the Liga is concerned. So today, in as far as the FA matches are concerned, those who have bragging rights for now, Arsenal and the likes, as well in the English Premier League. Let's start off with the FA Cup, where Stoke City at 10:15 tonight is going to be squaring it out with Brighton, while Leicester at 10:30 is going to be taking on Blackburn. Fulham at 10:45 is going to be squaring it out with Leeds, while Bristol City at 11 p.m. tonight are going to be taking on Manchester City. Tomorrow, Arsenal have a game as far as the EPL is concerned, and it's going to be at 10:45, where they're going to be meeting Everton, while those who never walk alone, that is Liverpool. Klopp's team there that has been walking alone this season is going to be meeting up with Wolves. Be sure to check out our website for stories that are making headlines on matters politics, business, as well as sports. I'm Regina Manyara. I wish you a pleasant viewing ahead, and I hand you over to my colleague Victor Olo.
Wacha kunificha. Wewe ni mtu najua tangu. Wewe si mtu wa kukaa kwa nyumba 24 hours.
Tulia, relax. Unaenda wapi?
Yuko wapi?
Nani?
Melissa yuko wapi?
Tulia, Melissa atakuja kukuona.
Sijakufa.
Kwa hivyo utajaribu kujiua tena?
Sasa unajua umeona venye wife amekufanya. Unajua vitu hizi saa zingine si take for granted.
Mbona unaonekana nikao umjui?
Ni kama simjui, lakini najua utanieleza baadaye.
Mimi mwanaume, kuna vitu mingi wanafaa kusort. Na chapa yote umetumia lazima ndakurudishia.
Zigi.
Hii story tumemaliza.
You've decided?
After we leave this place, I will find a good time to finally tell him the truth and why I lied to him.
What game are these two playing?
I'm fine. That's all you've been asking me. You know I'm embarrassed. Do you think I'm fine? I didn't know you also loved food.
It's not the food. It's the feeling.
Little piggy, I know you'd better than that. You're obsessed with ice cream.
Whenever I felt alone, I hoped to get a letter from her. Every time I got her letter, I was happy for the whole day and felt I should work much harder so I wouldn't let her down.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. Now, let me take you through the front page of our local day list before we get into a main discussion here. Before that, let me just tell you that our guest already in studio. I have got Junior Mulo, who is the Director of Political Affairs at the Amani National Congress Party. Welcome to the studio, as well as Crispus Wathimba, engineer, who is a political analyst and a governance expert. Gentlemen, welcome to our studios.
Thank you very much.
All right. So we'll get into the discussion shortly. But before then, let me take you through the front page of our local daily list. Let me start with the Star newspaper. On the front page of the Star, Uhuru Raila men hatched plot to rig poll. Uhuru Raila men hatched plot to rig poll, according to the tribunal. Findings could open a Pandora's box for officials amid push for a commission of inquiry into chaos, and that rocked Boma's National Tallying Center on August 15th, that is of last year. And now it holds that Azimio team visited Masit at Yaya Hotel. That is what's on the front page of the Star newspaper. And we have got Uhuru Raila appointment. We have got Kihara Kariuki, that is former Attorney General, Rafael Tuju, former CS, Amos Wako, ex-Busia Senator. We have got Hile Mutiambai, former police boss, Kennedy Ogeto, Solicitor General, and Lieutenant General Francis Ogola, that is a vice CDF. That's on the front page of the Star newspaper. Why I want audit done on City Hall billions, according to Sakaja. A Senate Watchdog Committee has ordered Auditor General Nancy Gadongo to conduct a special audit on billions spent by the defunct Nairobi Metropolitan Services. And now Sakaja wants audit done. Chinese robbed of valuables and cash in Kajiado. And now police are looking for a gang that raided a house occupied by a group of Chinese and robbed them of cash and valuables. I beg your pardon. At the weekend, the gang of 8 went to Sina Estate in Kajiado armed with crude weapons and knives and forced their way into the compound of the Chinese who work with Kipito Wind Farm. Very fast, on to the second page here. You can take a look at that story, which is fleshed out there for you. Why Uhuru and Raila men plotted to rig poll. That's according to the tribunal. Very fast, on to the front page of the Daily Nation. Payback. Ruto takes on Uhuru. Payback. Ruto takes on Uhuru. With just 2 weeks to the statutory deadline for his predecessor, Uhuru Kenyatta, to leave active politics, President William Ruto and his Kenya Kwanza administration are not taking chances from reversals of policies to revocation of appointments. The president seems keen to rein in Uhuru. But this was expected. Let me start with you, Junior Umulo. This is expected that whenever there is that transition from one government to another, it was deemed to happen, though.
Actually, for you to benefit from the President Retirement Benefit Act, you must resign, and as a party leader, you are not supposed to engage in either political party or a political process. As a former president, the only important thing is being a peacemaker. Is supposed to retire in peace, yes, and allow the current government to do its job. That is how it's supposed to be done. But when in regards to having new people in government, you can only work with people who are loyal to you. People who can also, sell your agenda, your manifesto, and even your program. You cannot work with people who are against your activities and program. That is why there is a need of having new team in different parastatal, different institutions, to ensure that the plan, what we call the plan, the agenda of Kenya Kwanza government is fully implemented in those institutions.
Yeah. So, Crispus, this was actually, it happens world over. And it even happens in the counties.
I think the issue is people in Kenya need to realize, if you pledge your loyalty to an administration, and the moment it exits, definitely your loyalty does not change overnight. Yes. You have to remain loyal to the administration, whether it is there or not. So you live, as the administration lives, you also live. So that you allow those who believed in the ideology of the new administration to come in and provide the impotence required to drive their agenda. Yes. So people who have been loyal to Azimio and Jubilee and the likes that were there in the last administration, they should allow the Kenya Kwanza team to come in because that's what they were designed for, to campaign for Kenya Kwanza, to come and work for Kenya Kwanza and deliver for Kenya Kwanza.
It's like you're moving houses. You cannot move houses and still leave your belonging there.
Exactly.
You'll have to move out with your all your belonging, then somebody else will have to come in, and take reign of that. Okay, let me take this here. Trade war path put in on a DP. There is this case of China Square, and in an outlet somewhere in KU, Unicity Mall, and now he's raising a lot of questions, and now Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and the Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria find themselves trapped by the demands of the Nyamakima king makers, who are now threatening the country's international trade policies and endangering diplomatic ties with China, whose nationals are targeted in a smear campaign for disrupting the thriving grey economy. So to speak, I've been here, and it's a new outlet, so to speak, and would have expected, perhaps, according to me, to have the Chinese nationals, because they are the sole owners of this company. So somebody would argue that they really expected such people to be there for some time, even though they're training Kenyans. Actually, there's Kenyans who are operating there at the shelves, at the till. But now, the whole debate, now this place has been closed for the last 2 days. Junior.
I think this came as a result of outcry by small business traders from Nyamakima, who had threatened the government, they're organizing for a protest, that there's an unfair competition between them and Chinese, who are selling their goods very cheaply. So I think in a business environment, you can only create a conducive environment for local to thrive. SMEs and even MMEs to thrive in regards to what they sell and how they sell their goods. But again, you can only build a country through allowing investors to invest in your country, creating employment and also improving the working standard, working condition of Kenyans. So I think we need to look at this in a fair way. Yes. And it's also believed that the Chinese business people were also given licenses which were not so much measured in terms of the value addition, in terms of businesses and how they are going to create jobs. So they need to look at this and negotiate and see how they invest, how they can they produce their products in Kenya. Yes. Like Taifa Gas, they are investing in Kenya. Such investment will give more returns to Kenyans, as opposed to gaining more, taking back the money that they get here in China. So I think the CS in charge of trade is working around it to ensure that he creates a very conducive business environment for traders, so that it can be a fair play for all the business people.
But if you look at it, Engineer, I must assume that the Chinese paid all the dues, they got the license, their area of operation was well taken care of, but then is it taking out of proportion?
Well, I think we need to look at history. When we first built the rail line with the British, the Indians came here to build the rail line. Then after building the rail line, they became traders. And now they have moved from being traders to the biggest industrialist in this country. Yes.
But they're now citizens.
The Chinese came to build the SGR, what we're calling the Belt Initiative across Africa. After doing it, they realized, we have money, we have expertise in these areas, what can we do? So you can see Kilimani, they are doing a lot of real estate, they are doing trading in Nyamakima and the other places. China Square is coming on board. From there, they'll probably transit to becoming industrialists. We as Kenyans, we have to wake up and realize, as long as we are not able to take that space, people from out there will always come and take this space and take advantage of the opportunities we have here. Many of our Kenyan traders are not honest. What this Chinese guy has realized is that I can bring these things from China to Kenyans here and still make a small margin and sell to Kenyans and they can afford. Yes. But most of our traders, they go to China, bring us very cheap and bad quality stuff, sell us expensively, make us consumer dependent. Every 6 months we have to replace this thing, and we are paying an arm and a leg. So this Chinese guy is filling a space. I think what the trade minister needs to do is address the issue of fair trade. If us Kenyans were willing to buy from Kenyans, can the Kenyan traders also be fair enough when they go to China? Bring us quality, sell to us at an affordable price, and we have no problem buying from them. Yeah. The problem is when they go out there, they bring us fake things, sell us expensively, and still expect the government to protect them. If you look at the records of what Kenyans imported from China, vis-a-vis what Kenya declared they had imported, there was a huge disparity.
Yes.
China said Kenya had imported over 800 billion. Kenya said we had imported only 143 billion. In terms of the tax contribution, these same traders were the people who were avoiding paying taxes, despite importing so much from China. So there are serious issues. As much as they want to be protected, are they playing their fair share of contributing to the economy? As much as they are importing and not supporting the manufacturing sector in Kenya, what are they doing in terms of filling that space? So there are serious issues that we need to address. I may not be privy to some of the inner details of what the CS is demanding, and even the collaboration between the Chinese and the Kenyatta University. And now, but until 2 months ago, Unicity was quite, it was a sleepy kind of an outlet until the Chinese came up. Yes. Then all of a sudden, this became the anchor tenant. Don't you think there's a better way it would have been treated, or the whole story would have been handled without making it look like the Chinese have come now? We want to have Nyamakima traders, are working. How many people can you accommodate? Maximum 100?
Sure.
Junior?
I think this has been an issue. I remember last time when Jaguar was a member of parliament for Starehe, there were allegations that Chinese were also doing hawking in those areas. So I think the only disadvantage on this side is that there was a knee-jerk reaction by political leaders after the small-scale traders threatened to strike in regards to what is happening. But it should not be taken in a political direction. What needs to be done is how then do we create an environment for a fair trade so that we have value addition and competitive advantage in terms of what kind of business we are doing as a country. I think what engineer said, our traders are not actually genuine people, because sometimes, but we need also to change our laws so that we allow them, so that when they import goods from China, they also have the tariffs or the whatever they pay will not be reflected in what they sell to the people. So we just need to create a fair environment for Chinese to do business in Kenya and any other investor, because so long as they will create employment, because what we are fighting for is to create employment, increase production. If they can be industrialists, they can create industries that will also employ our people, we'll also appreciate. So we need to encourage investors to invest in Kenya, but at the same time allow them to have an environment that will also, as they compete with small-scale traders, they create a fair environment so that whatever they sell will also resonate with what we sell. So that we make profit, they also give us a return, as also they make their profit.
All right, gentlemen.
And I just wanted to add on that, if you look at Dubai, Dubai is not an industrial city, it's a trading city.
And everybody,
most of the business there is about trading.
Yes.
Traders come in, set up shop. The Dubai government ensures their people to come and buy. Even us as a country, if all the Chinese came and traded here, and the whole of East Africa region came to buy from here, what are we losing?
Kenya will act as a point of collection.
Exactly. We'll become a transport hub, a trade hub, a financial hub. There are so many opportunities as long as we are able to take advantage of the position we have as a country. So if there was so many China squares all over the country, but we made sure that everybody from Africa comes here to buy from us, we are the ones who will benefit. It's money that is being pumped into our economy, jobs created for our people, and everybody will win.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, let me take you through the front other pages of the paper here. But there is one story that I want us to look into details. Prepare to fold. Malala tells UDA partners. Omulo, this is quite close to your heart. Just hold. We'll discuss that when you come back. Prepare to fold. Malala tells UDA partners is now the new Secretary General of the UDA party, just jumping from the ANC. What happened? Why is he running away from Musalia? You'll tell us more. Battle for the mountain. Nyor waiting in the wings. All right. Battle for the mountains. Nyor waiting in the wings. That now two gentlemen fighting to be the kingpin of Mount Kenya. We have got Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro. They call him Ndende Nyoro. All right. Okay. Very fast, on the front page of the Standard, why last of Cholera 4 had to fall? Why last of Cholera 4 had to fall? According to the tribunal chairman, Agri Muchelule, Commissioner Irene Masit sank out of her own failure to challenge evidence adduced against her. Instead, she questioned witness credibility. And now, she has got 10 days to appeal the decision. Intrigues of Mudavadi ally takes helm of Ruto party. Now we have got new members. We have got Cecil Mbarire, who's the Embu governor, taking that part as the chairperson of UDA, and the former senator of Kakamega, Cleophas Malala, as the new secgen of UDA party. Why did he have to jump ship? We'll be discussing that immediately after this break. And finally, on the front page of the People Daily, varsities in crisis over vacant jobs. Varsities in crisis over vacant jobs. It's now said that at least 29 public institutions lack substantive chancellors or vice chancellors as debate rages over increase in fees. Let me come back to you, engineer. I mean, it's a sorry state of education affairs here.
Well, the Kibaki's dream was to have universities or university education accessible to many Kenyans. Unfortunately, the people who have been given that responsibility over the last 10, 15 years to champion equal access to university education to Kenyans have also turned this university into money-making machines. And they are not businessmen. They are not into the business of making money. They're supposed to be teaching and providing knowledge. We have the wrong people doing the job that is supposed to be done by different people. The academia is a good area to be led by professors, but also we need proper administrators, people who understand business to run this institution, because as much as you want to make them generate money, you cannot have a professor being in charge of monetizing some of the assets this university have. You've seen this university buying assets all over East Africa, buildings, hotels, which are now not even generating money, and they are there crying of not having money. How are they going to justify sitting in so many assets and not being able to generate money? Because they don't have the required skills to do that. We need the right people to manage the assets and the business of universities. Leave the professors to do the teaching and academia.
All right, gentlemen, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into now our main discussion here, the intrigues in the Mudavadi party. That's why you are here, Omulo. Let's take a break. We'll be right back with our gentlemen in studio shortly.
think, Marisol? You want to tell me something? Tell me. I'm listening. What is it?
No, you are not going anywhere.
What's that?
I said you're not going anywhere. You will stay right here with me.
What's with the bag, Fabi? Where are you going?
Fabiola is leaving the house.
tutegu ngima che yat mugulel dang ngima che mongbe nyange begi putinai lale yo kimi give again lale yo Kitwek FM gigosi lale yo Kitwek FM gigosi 98.0 Kitwek FM Kegosin.
Welcome back. Okay, now let's jump into our discussion here. So on the front page, a lot of changes took place yesterday at the ruling party, that is UDA. And now we have got Cleophas Malala, former senator of Kakamega, taking that role of Secretary General. And that is why I have got Director of Political Affairs at the ANC party, Junior Umulo, to tell us what is really happening at the ANC. Junior, go. Is ANC folding shop?
Actually, ANC is very stable and we are active, operating and actually part of Kenya Kwanza government. Malala is a member of ANC party and he was our candidate in Kakamega. And remember, the constitution allows him to become a member of another party if he wants to be, because that is the constitution. You can associate, you can join a political party by a way of resigning from your former party and also applying in that regard. So I believe he did that, all the due process, and is allowed by law to do that. That one does not affect the leadership of the party and even the operations of the party. The party is very strong. And remember, the Constitution through the Political Parties Act also allows the registration of political parties and even the coalition of parties and even coalition of party. So if he feels that he is joining UDA, which to his best knowledge is he will be able to participate as a Secretary General, I think he is allowed, and that's why my party leader gave him a green light to work with our partner, which is our sister party, also to inject energy, because he's also a young man with a brilliant political promise. So there's nothing that will destabilize ANC party. This is a competition, and ANC is also working on a clear framework focused to participate in the next election and also to compete with the UDA, because that is what the Constitution allows. Yes.
We all know that Cleophas Malala was one of the strongest point men of Musalia Mudavadi in Western Kenya, and he actively took part in the campaigns during last election. But right now he's crossed over to UDA. Do you really think this is going to weaken ANC in Western Kenya, his exit? Crispus?
You know, ANC as a party is a party associated with Mudavadi. So when there is no Mudavadi, there is no ANC. But when other people leave ANC, it doesn't affect it.
Remember, you also resigned.
Yes. Yes. So the issue is, if ANC really wants to become a national party, it needs to start bringing new blood where it does not associate itself with Mudavadi. But as long as a Mudavadi party, whether people come and leave, it does not impact so much on that party. What I would say is that it's good for Malala to join UDA, because UDA is a party that has demonstrated that it wants to have a national outlook. And for Malala, he has demonstrated also while in ANC that he's a great mobilizer. One of the things that UDA is missing now that the president is already in office is that mobilizer. Ruto is one of the biggest mobilizers for any political party, but right now he's already a president. He may be handicapped in terms of his ability to go down on the grass to do that. So that's something now Malala will come and bring on board. So in my opinion, it's a good thing for the country that Malala has joined UDA, but it's also unfortunate that he not stay longer in ANC to be able to help that party grow outside Mudavadi, because now the party still remains a Mudavadi outfit, rather than a Western Kenya party growing to become a national party.
Did he resign? Because his exit was rather silent.
Actually, you cannot join a political party, another political party, without resigning from
So
your
he resigned
party.
from ANC.
So he resigned, even though it was not loud or it was not public.
Okay.
But that is the law. Because the law also states that the moment you are a member of a party and then you are deemed to be selling other ideologies of another party, then that is against the law. So I think it's just right, and it is wrong to say that ANC is not a national party, because I come from Luoland and I'm a director in that party. Our Secretary General comes from Central Kenya, and we have elected members of parliament from different parts of this country. So I believe ANC is a national party. You know, as much as we have built ourselves as a country through democracy, from one-party state to multi-party democracy, we are still fighting the idea of personalities. You know, all parties are associated with personalities. Come to ODM. ODM without Raila is not ODM. Come to UDA, you know, you talk about
ANC.
So, including
ANC without
so we need to deviate from that and build a political party or a vehicle that can be seen to be not only having a national face, but selling ideologies that can be associated by what other, you know, ordinary citizens are also advocating for. That is the dream of Kenya Kwanza, and that is why they are saying they want to talk to other partners. They are not saying that they are going to fold political parties, but they are saying they are going to dialogue. They are going to sell the ideas of working together, either forming a political coalition of parties or a coalition party. But we have seen challenges of forming a coalition party. You've seen what is happening in Azimio, and we cannot go in that direction. If we are forming a political a coalition of parties, then other parties are also allowed to participate actively and also compete with other parties within that coalition.
The same thing that is happening, that's happened to Jubilee. We had TNA, we had URP, and all those other political parties, you know, folded and closed shop, and they formed Jubilee. And now Malala says that prepare to fold. Malala tells UDA partners. New Party Secretary General Cleophas Malala says that he will be reaching out to Kenya Kwanza affiliate parties to discuss the matter. Are we going to have a scenario like we had in the last regime?
Remember, the folding of TNA...
And what is the danger to that?
No, the folding of TNA and URP was a vision of William Ruto to have Uhuru Kenyatta re-elected with one party, one big party, and then use that party on delivering on the promise to Kenyans, and use that party to seek election afresh for himself in 2022, which by the time 2022 was reaching, he was already kicked out of Jubilee. His dream is to always have a one strong party. The way we had Kanu, remember he was a student of Moi. His dream is to have one strong party to compete among others. So I don't see how within the Kenya Kwanza plan we are going to have so many parties for a very long time. The dream is to have one strong party which can be used to deliver on this promise and his re-election, and also sustain that promise for the next 10 or 20 years. As long as he's alive, he must be able to make sure that whatever he does today, he protects it, even when he's not president, by making sure there's a strong party working hard to protect his legacy and build on it. And I don't see how so many parties will be allowed to thrive as long as that Kenya.
But based on the history, again, Jubilee just disintegrated. I mean, it was used as a vehicle for a re-election. Are we not so sure, and even the political parties who are now being told to be ready to fold, that the same might happen after another election cycle?
But you know, Jubilee died because of a handshake. When Uhuru Kenyatta, without the engaging...
Was that not just a political propaganda?
But going by what you have seen in this, the fallout between Uhuru Kenyatta and Ruto, it is very clear that Ruto was not part of the handshake. And even on them failing to deliver on the Jubilee Big Four, it was not his wish. For him, he has picked up from where Jubilee left on the Big Four, especially the issue of the affordable housing, food security, on the issues of agriculture and all that. You've seen he has picked up from where his grand promise of Big Four was left, and he has consistently said, look, when this handshake came in, we were not able to deliver on the big four. If you look at Kenya Kwanza, it's a mirror of the big four.
Yes.
With just addition of a few things because of other parties that have joined. So he believes in one strong party. And I believe that's something that William Ruto will deliver.
So is the president cannibalizing ANC? Because if you take Musalia Mudavadi's strong point man, Malala is a strong man in the ANC. Is the president cannibalizing ANC?
Actually, it's not, because I do agree with what engineer is saying.
Yes.
You know, sometimes you look at democracies like USA, you only have two political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. Come to South Africa and even Tanzania, our neighbor here. You know, we need to build a strong party that can compete, a party whose ideology is premised on, you know, what they want to do for Kenyans. Not having so many political parties with different ideologies, with different people who are not focused, and their own mind, what they want to do is make money. You know, like Kenya, we have over 86, you know, around 86 or 87 political parties. Some of them are not even known. Why do we have to register so many political parties, whereas we can only have two political parties that can produce a president, that can produce leadership? That is the vision of Kenya Kwanza.
But it has been I think having Malala, political parties.
Malala as a person is a young man with a brilliant political promise. You've seen how he negotiates, how he is vibrant, how he mobilizes. You know, Ruto is also keen in you know, rewarding talents and loyalty. I've seen even during campaigns, even though Malala was our candidate and also our member in ANC, but you could see him, his heart actually was with the president. You could see him, you know, walking around with the president and even selling some of UDA policies. So I think, look at two things. One, ANC already has filled all the positions. We have a secretary general, we have a chairperson, and all the positions within the party. So putting Malala, who is a vibrant young person in the party, without a position, you know, it would automatically leave.
So where does that leave
whereas,
ANC then? If you're taking a strong man from a political party to join me.
As I said, you know, Malala is just a member, just like any other, you know, leaders within the ANC party. We have elected members within the ANC party. But that should not be construed as if Malala is the only person who is vibrant in the party. There are so many people who are very vibrant in the party. But even though we cannot lie to ourselves that he has not left a gap, especially in Western, because he's also a leader in Western. But within his right, he's seen it fit that he saw a vacancy, and the president also saw a talent within Malala, and he appointed him as secretary. So there's nothing. So there's nothing we can do. Our work as an ANC party is to focus on our agenda as a party, develop strategies that will help us compete with UDA, but within Kenya Kwanza formation. So the ideology of having two political parties or a big coalition party that can be in existence for more than 20 years is a very good idea that Kenyans should support. We should not have political parties or people hopping from one party to another, or we use parties for only after election you dump this party, you jump to another party. That one cannot help Kenyans. We need a strong parties that can be funded by the government, that can run and build Kenyans, and can also mentor young people who are also coming up and also produce leadership in this country.
Christmas, when you talk about lawyer unity, it has been a hard nut to crack for so many years. I think because of the, you know, how it is. How is it going to be for Malala to sell UDA in Western Kenya, while it was not easy for Musalia Mudavadi himself to assert his authority in the entire Western region in the last election? ODM, or call it Azimio, still won in Western Kenya.
But we need to understand, probably Malala has not been brought to win Western Kenya. Today, ODM is very strong because it has won Nairobi. When they call for mass action, they just go to Jacaranda where Babu Owino is, and there's a big rally whose impact is felt even in Kisumu, where we consider ODM to be the home turf. So I think Malala is coming to play something, a new role. UDA also needs to be a political force that can counter whatever Raila is preparing for this administration, or for 2027, where they will need to mobilize grassroots support across the country. And if he's able to do that, even outside Western Kenya. There will be no reason for people in Western Kenya not supporting Malala where he is. So I think this is an opportunity for Malala to demonstrate that he's a national leader, which he did when he was in the Senate, that he's somebody who's able to argue and support and debate and be able to marshal support for whatever cause he believes in. He comes as the SG for UDA. Then he'll be able to build those structures to rejuvenate UDA on the grass, because right now UDA, they're just waiting for a dream. But they need to be prepared politically at the grassroots to work towards keeping the party vibrant, so that by 2027 it's ready for an election, and even now to be able to counter any challenges from ODM or the opposition for that fact. So we need somebody like Malala to be in UDA to be able to give it that energy, because right now UDA is not there. Most of the people who are steering UDA have been given political appointments. So who is running UDA? So it's a good thing for him to come and play a national role.
Is ANC folding shop? Because when now Malala has been tapped from ANC to join the UDA, are we looking at a future where soon, the way it was silent, we only saw it yesterday, press, Malala has moved, Cecil Marire named. Is ANC folding shop?
ANC is not folding shop, actually.
You can repeat
in fact,
that
that is
on record.
not.
You can repeat that
for the record. For the record, we are a strong party, and you can only close shop by having all the elected members resign or join another party, because the only capital we have as a party is having elected members. We have elected leaders in the party, and in that respect, ANC is very strong. It has leadership. The party leader is Isha Timami, is a governor in Lamu, and we are currently working on how we can also compete with other political parties. So Malala leaving ANC is not a big deal to us.
It could be a pointer.
It's not a pointer, actually, because he's a member, just like any other member. But we have leaders within ANC, and I can assure Kenyans that we are more stronger, and we're also coming up with clear plan that will help us also not only have more elected members, but also participate actively within the coalition, because we are not going to have a presidential candidate. Our presidential candidate is the coalition candidate, who is William Ruto. After 2027, then we will plan and either form government.
Okay. You see what I'm saying, that there's some pointers, all right? The question I want to ask you, Crispus, and even you, Junior, you can also chime in. When you look at ANC, Musalia Mudavadi resigned because of his position. Of course, now we have got one of the strong men. Malala has also moved to the other side. So where does that leave elected leaders in ANC? Crispus?
Well, that departure by Malala and the other leaders creates a vacuum, which other people like him should be able to take advantage. I think this gap should not be seen like a failure. They should be seen an opportunity for young people to stand up and take advantage and fill those gaps and be able to take a national platform and demonstrate to the country that they can be leaders. I mean, Babu Owino has clearly shown that even if we don't have an MP in Kibera, ODM can still be felt in Nairobi. So we also want some of these vacancies that are being left, young people to come out and be able to fill them in and demonstrate that we can be. Even in ANC, for example, if we feel Davadi and Malala has left, but the party is still connected to the people of Western Kenya, can some new blood from Western Kenya come and fill that gap and be able to take that party out of Western Kenya to the rest of the country?
Of course, I know Junior is going to say that
it is a national
party. It's a party of Western Kenya, because Issa Timami is a member and Lamu governor. But then, still coming to you, do you think that the departure of the two gentlemen now leaves elected leaders in ANC, with a bit of some shaky legs?
Elected members, they were elected on ANC ticket as a party, and the party has a leadership. There's no vacuum in the leadership of ANC party. So they are still paying their subscription, they are still supporting the party ideology, they are part and parcel of the party. there's nothing that has changed, because I said, and I'll repeat, that Malala was not holding any position within the party. Malala was a member of the party, and he was our candidate in Western. And I agree with the engineer that it is an opportunity for us also to look for a vibrant leader in Western who can also take over. You know, Malala is seen because he's a vibrant, he's a young man who is loud. He can be seen anywhere, as opposed to other leaders. So we will strategize and look at how best we can consolidate the support of Western. And you see, Western people are very interesting people. They have been able to, you know, build democracy in Western. They don't focus so much on one political party. That's why you have many elected members of parliament in Western with different political parties, including DAP and even independent candidates.
Yes.
So that democracy is quite exercised in Western Kenya. And as I said earlier, ANC party is not a local or a regional party. ANC party is a national party with elected members of parliament in all over the country. In Garissa, we have MCAs in Garissa. We have a member of parliament in Matuga, in Mombasa, and in Kilifi. We have a governor in Lamu. You know, so this is a national party. So it should not be associated with the fact that Musalia Mudavadi comes from Western. So I know people might associate Malala with the leadership of the party, but I can tell Kenyans that Malala is a member of the party, and leaving ANC party, he has left ANC party because he feels that he needs somewhere a platform where he can participate actively, and he can also, you know, exercise his talent as a young leader. So ANC is very strong, and members of parliament will still participate in the party. They have the right also to associate within the coalition, but that should be within the law.
Are you
having... ANC is very strong, and I cannot, you know, I don't have any doubt actually.
Are you having a parliamentary group meeting soon?
We are not having, because you know, losing one member is not a big deal. But maybe we'll have a parliamentary meeting just to discuss important matters in regards to what we promise Kenyans and how we are moving the party in terms of the new plan that we have, the new strategies that we are going to inject in the party, and how best we are going to perform in the next election. Also looking at auditing what happened last election, how do we improve or increase membership within the party, just like any what is happening in UDA. We also have a plan to have grassroots elections, recruitment of new members. That is what we are going to have with the elected members of parliament.
Grassroots elections, will you go, before I come to you, Crispus, will you go as UDA, or ANC is also going to run independently, you know, UDA independently, and all those other affiliate parties in the Kenya Kwanza?
For the record, we are not part of UDA. We are a party, a registered party with the party leadership, but we are part of Kenya Kwanza coalition. You know, Kenya Kwanza coalition is a coalition of parties. It means that it is a coalition having different political
during grassroots
parties.
Elections, you'll
during
run
grassroots
as
elections,
ANC.
we are going to run as ANC. We are going to have our members. We are going to elect our officials. It's a competition, just like any other ODM. You'll have, when they elect their chairman in Vihiga County, we'll also elect our chairman in Vihiga County. So it is a competition. We also have to increase our political base and how we actively participate in that process. Yes.
Crispus, I think Obulu is trying to scatter around. He's trying
economical with the truth.
Trying to be economical. He's trying to be smart out of it. But you are allowed to burst his bubble.
Yes.
You are allowed.
Well, I think he's at pain to just speak the untold truth. Is that
because he knows the side of the bread which is buttered.
We have parties that have refused to grow out of people, personality. And there are those that have grown because of personality. For example, ODM, without Raila, the party will be dead.
Yes.
And it has always remained relevant because of Raila. So I think we are in a contradicting position where we have parties that done very well because of a person, but there are also parties that have done very poorly because of the person. And I think ANC is one of those parties that really the person at the top has not helped in terms of building that party into a national outfit as may be desired. Right now, he's a prime cabinet secretary. I don't know how free he is in terms of using that position to really catapult the party to a national platform. I'm a member of Ford Kenya. Our speaker is the speaker is our party leader. How those two men will use their new found political national positions to build their parties to a national level.
Yes.
Is a question we need to ask ourselves and understand. Because you see, what Ruto did when he was in Jubilee, he was able to use that position as a deputy president and also a member of the party to go around the country building himself. And out of that, he was able to come up with another party called UDA. How then Mudavadi and the speaker and any other person who is a political party leader and in government is going to use their offices to be able to build their parties to a national level is a question we need to ask ourselves and see how they will do it. But it is important that they take advantage of this time they have. Otherwise, you will not be a prime cabinet secretary for a very long time. If you don't do that, the Gachagwas of this world will come with their own parties. They'll go and take Jubilee, wherever it is, and make themselves national leaders. So I think it's just an issue of taking advantage of the place you are. Yes.
Okay, gentlemen, I want us to take a break and we come back. Remember the earthquake?
Yeah.
When it happened at Bomas. Are we seeing some of the, some signs of earthquake still coming up? Omulu will tell us. You'll tell us after this break. Let's take a break and we come back. I still have got Junior Mulu, who is the Political Affairs Director at the ANC Party, and Crispus Wathimba, Political and Governance Expert. Let's take a break. We'll be right back shortly.
Hammering you.
The National Youth Service will hold its pass-out graduation ceremony on 3rd March 2023. His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, will be the guest of honor during the pass-out parade to be held at NYS Paramilitary Academy in Gilgil, Nakuru County. Follow the proceedings live on KBC Channel 1 on Friday, 3rd March 2023 from 10 a.m. NYS, huduma kwa taifa.
It's not what you think, Marisol.
You want to tell me something? Tell me. I'm listening. What is it?
No, you are not going anywhere.
What's that?
I said you're not going anywhere. You will stay right here with me.
What's with the bag, Fabi? Where are you going?
Fabiola is leaving the house.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. All right, so as we come to the tail end of this discussion, let me ask you, Omulo, will it be so easy for UDA to penetrate in Western Kenya, which is mostly perceived to be an ODM and Raila stronghold politically?
Actually, I don't want to speak for UDA, but I can speak for Kenya Kwanza.
Go ahead.
Look at the history of Western and the election pattern in Western Kenya. You know, Western Kenya traditionally has been supporting the Raila Odinga or ODM or Azimio side. But look at the intermarriages between the Luos and Lawyers. Look at areas like Busia, look at areas like Luanda in Vihiga, which is close to Kisumu. Look at areas like Kakamega, especially in Lurambi. You know, the Luos and Lawyers intermarried and they are one team. So they have that traditional support of Raila Odinga. But you look at the pattern after 2022 election, how many votes Raila got and how many votes Ruto got.
Yes.
So there's a possibility, depending on how the Kenya Kwanza government is going to deliver on its promises to the people of Western. Because look at, there are so many issues, historical issues in regards to sugar companies, Mere Sugar Company, the issues of employment, the issues of roads, the issues of production in Western Kenya. If Ruto is able to fulfill all the promises he made to Western Kenya, then I believe, based on that promises, they are going to penetrate Western Kenya. So there's a possibility. And also depending on how, if Azimio is going to hold, because there's a possibility also, because Oparanya is also, you know, preparing himself to take over from Raila Odinga. Look at Kalonzo is also preparing himself to take over from Raila Odinga. So it depends on how, if they are going to work together or hold together as Azimio, then the possibility also having a serious competition with the Kenya Kwanza in Western is also possible.
Yeah.
But if they're not going to hold together, then it will be a leeway for Kenya Kwanza to penetrate and have numbers in Western Kenya.
The loyal unity has been a mirage for so many years, and even if all the leaders we had, you know, the late Wamalwa, who tried to bring that Western bloc, you know, together, but at some point it just slid off their fingers. It's been still a mirage for a very long time, Crispus. But then now, having the separation and the division amongst the leaders in Western Kenya, do you think that the president is going to bring them together as a bloc, as an individual, even in Kenya Kwanza? And now that Malala has left ANC, which was perceived to be a Western Kenya party, until the DAPK came, you know, the Ford Kenya is still reigning supreme there, ODM is still, you know, having fingers and his claws there. Is Kenya Kwanza going to, you know, take over from Western Kenya?
I think the challenge we have with Western Kenya is that they are not this committee that speaks in one language.
Yes.
I think if you look at the history during the Moi's time, we still had people working for Moi and also those opposing him, all coming from Western Kenya. Even in the last three administrations, I mean two administrations of Kibaki and Uhuru Kenyatta, we have seen people working with the administration and those opposing, all coming from Western Kenya. I think it goes beyond what we see at the surface. I think there are internal divisions within the Luya communities that to bring Luya unity, you must overcome. And for anybody to understand those things that divide them, I think that's probably the only solution we require, which probably are cultural, historical issues that probably our generation may not be able to overcome. But I think for now, we should not dwell so much on bringing Luya unity, but probably bringing or growing democracy within the Luya community. Because it's very good also having many people from different political affiliations within the Luya community, which allows them to be able to negotiate. Luya communities have never failed to be in any administration because they don't speak in one language. One part of Luya could be in government, the other one could be outside. But at the end of the day, it's Western Kenya that it's benefiting. So I think the challenge is to be able to, how do we demonstrate that these people are one? How do we able to make sure that as much as they are divided, we benefit as a region?
Let me bring Omulo in this particular point. You know, we are talking about Malala, but there is this lady, Cecil Mbarire. Let's not, wish her away. Cecil Mbarire has been picked from Central Kenya.
Yes.
And as we look the way it's been, the strong voice which used to be there, who is now the cabinet secretary, is now Kandara member of parliament, Wahome, was a very strong and staunch supporter of president.
Yes.
But now, Cecil Mbarire is coming as the chairperson of UDA from Central. What does that show?
It has no big significance actually, because first she's a woman. Secondly, she comes from Embu, and Embu is a community within Central. So it's just blending the ideology that it's a party that allows a woman at the helm of the party leadership. At the same time, a leader from Central, which gave a lot of support for William Ruto. So there's nothing significant in terms of her being the chairperson of UDA, but it will just add value in terms of the support that Ruto gained from Central, and also being a woman, that the place of a woman in leadership, that is the most important thing. But I just wanted to weigh in on what engineer was talking about in Western. I've studied the pattern and the cultural belief in Western. Western has a multi-ethnic groupings within the community. Western has the Bukusus, which are the majority. They have the Maragolis, the Tirikis. These communities believe in their own leaders. And I like the fact that they've embraced democracy. They allow all political parties to just participate fairly in the political process. They are not so much focused in one political party compared to Nyanza, which only focus on ODM. It is illegal for you to be elected or even to associate with other political parties if you are not supporting ODM. But look at Western. Western, they embrace ODM, they embrace Jubilee, they embrace independent leaders, they embrace ANC and other politics. So let them be allowed. We should not be discussing about the elusive, what we call the elusive lower unity, which has never happened and will never happen. Let them just allow them to participate in that, democratic space. Let them elect their leaders, whoever they want to elect. But so long as there's a clear playing field for all political parties to participate in Western. But what will matter most is how you sell your policy in Western. What are you going to add to the people, or what are you going to benefit the people of Western with? What are you going to do to them so that they can it can improve their lives?
Yes.
Be that as it may, the Malala factor in Western is not that much serious, because I've told you earlier that we have people like Kalwale, is also comes from Kakamega, and if you want to balance Malala, you bring in Kalwale. So you never know whether even ANC, we are also looking for Kalwale. So sometimes
case closed.
So it is about political play. So sometimes we're also doing our mathematics right. Because for you to kill an antelope, you must have calculated the angle at which you throw the arrow. So they have decided to do that. We will also work around and see who is better and who can also take on and neutralize the perception that Malala is
I love where the debate is, the direction the debate is taking. I asked a question about Cecil Mbarire, a very strong lady. She rose to be the governor of Embu. A very strong woman in Central Kenya. We now see the likes of Martha Karua now on the other side.
Yes.
What do you think, or why do you think, in the wisdom of the party, architects, why she was picked?
Well, Central Kenya has been, the Mount Kenya region has been dominated by leaders from what we call the Central Province.
Yes.
We haven't looked at the other side, the eastern side of the Mount Kenya. And I think Ruto wants to prepare this side of the mountain for leadership. We've seen the Professor Kindiki was one of the leading contenders for the VP position, for the deputy president position. Now he's the Minister of Interior. He has an opportunity to be able to show that people from that area can lead. The Attorney General is from that area. Now Cecil Mbarire is being given the leadership of
Chief Justice, remember?
Yes, Chief Justice. The same thing is given to you. Mbarire is now the chair of the UDA. It's an opportunity for the eastern side of the Mount Kenya to prove their worth, so that they can be also when it comes to the negotiation of votes, Ruto can also talk to the other side. I don't know if it's an attempt to divide that vote, but if he's trying to do that, well, the Mount Kenya unity is also very hard to crack because it has always remained one throughout generations. We fought for independence as one. We have fought for democracy as one. We have been in this Kibaki and the Uhuru government as one.
Yeah.
So I believe you can only work with everybody from the Mount Kenya region. Don't try to divide them. Let them remain as united. They speak the same language. They have the same culture. They think the same way. They are pro-business. They want to make money. They want to grow their economy. That's all. So if Mbarile can also carry the same ideas within UDA, then we are safe.
I don't remember when there was a chairperson of a national party who is a female legislator or a woman. Mbarile perhaps comes to my mind as the first. Junior.
Yeah, as I said, it's just creating the perception. There's a place of a woman. Ruto promised women that when I form government, I'll give you 50% of the leadership. So, that is also nurturing women in leadership. And that is a very, very good move, which we need to appreciate the fact that women are also given an opportunity to be the chairperson of a party.
Yes.
So that is a unique way of also allowing women to participate, and is a good move. We will also consider, because sometimes we emulate, when you have like companies or even institutions, sometimes you look at what is important in the other.
Yes.
It's not about copying, but you emulate what is important by creating space for women. And even young people. Malala is a youth. Mbarire is also fairly young. The fact that she's also a woman, you can see how UDA is trying to balance, not only in regions, but also, the gender balance is also well done.
And remember, UDA was heavily supported by women. So I think it's important that they really run their own party, because most of the votes that came to UDA, especially from Mount Kenya region, came from women.
Yes.
Women voted 100% for UDA. So I think it's only fair that they are given that party, be able to continue with the same dream and aspirations that they have held with that party, and probably have one of their own as deputy president come 2027. Yes.
Yes, but I want us to close this one. But let me ask you, Omulo, what is the grand plan for UDA, Kenya Kwanza, ANC, the entire outfit?
The grand plan is to have a formidable coalition that will not only be premised on the ideology or the issues that we believe in, that Kenyans will be able to embrace and participate collectively, knowing that this is a party or a coalition that will exist for years, a party that will produce leaders not based on ethnic arrangement, but leaders that are based on what they sell to Kenyans and what they can do to Kenyans. We want to deviate from electing communities that you are the majority, you produce president. Want to have a party that can produce a leader, even from the minority, ethnic group. So that is what we are focusing on. That is the grand plan. And also to form the next government, actually having fulfilled all the promises that we made to Kenyans. Currently, what we are focusing on, how we can be able to stabilize this economy so that we can reduce the cost of living, the cost of fuel, the cost of electricity, all the basic needs that are enshrined in the Constitution under Article 43, economic rights, and all the rights that Kenyans want to enjoy.
Absolutely. The grand plan, as you take on that, I still repeat, I think Omolo was a bit economical with his words, but anyway, that was expected.
Yes.
But then, let's talk about this one. Cholera 4 is now case closed, and Masit is now recommended, the tribunal has now recommended the president to remove her of her duties and of that. Is it now over? And the president has actually now gazetted a 7-member team for the selection panel. Let me start with you, Christmas.
Well, for me, I think the tribunal was, I think, in my opinion, a bit one-sided. She took a lot of time poking holes on the testimony of the people accusing her.
Yes.
She did not also give us a chance to. She did not even take that chance to also prove her case or bring witnesses to show that she was being accused unfairly and that. So we didn't hear from the other side. We didn't hear from the Cholera 4. We didn't hear from the side that was opposing this tribunal. But rather than they spend a lot of time poking holes on the testimony from those who are accusing them. So I think further from this, we may need to have a commission of inquiry to understand what were these issues that were bedeviling the election of 2022 and especially the last days at Bomas of Kenya. If there were any attempts to grab power when Kenyans had already made a decision in the vote, if there were such attempts, we need to be able to know that they were there, and if there are any people to be held accountable, they do that. So at 2027, we can trust in IEBC. We can believe in these institutions, because without IEBC that we can trust, then who are, as a country, who are we? Yes.
And at the end of the day, Omulo, somebody would argue that the result or the outcome was expected anyway. It's not come as a shocker.
Actually, that was expected, and what happened with the IBC in 2022 should not happen in this country again. We need to have a consolidated, independent electoral and boundary commission that can deliver election based on the law, and with whatever that they are supposed to do, without being divided, supporting this political side or political side. That should never happen. Even though, having said that, whatever that happened should not, and a commission of inquiry should be in place actually, even though it's not our priority. But we promise Kenyans that we are going to have a commission of inquiry so that we can see what happened, even with the leaders who participated. There are serious leaders in the security sector who also played part in the election, who interfered with the IEBC. That should never happen, and that should be done as soon as possible. But even though we are focusing on creating a new IEBC, remember the IEBC Amendment Act was signed by the President, that is forming the 7 panel that now will allow Kenyans to apply, make applications, and form a new commission. But be that as it may, look at the law. The law allows the President, having the 7-member panel, having received all the applications and also recommending those who are supposed to take over as IBC. You look at, they give the President a leeway of 2 names to elect as a chairperson, and even 9 names for the commissioners. This is something that even the opposition did not see coming, because when the debate was brought in Parliament, the amendments were brought in Parliament, they did not react. Actually, they did not participate. They did not even riot. They did not even demonstrate, because they ought to have pushed for IPPIG arrangements. But now they are crying that, what is going to happen is like a Ruto IBC. Creating such kind of public perception is what always cause chaos every election year. We need to trust our institutions to the extent that when they give them an opportunity, you are not electing people based on your interest, but let Kenyans apply and participate in this process without any interference, so that you can have an institution that can be trusted. But it's just, this is just like a football player. You cannot trust a referee. When you lose, you blame the referee. When you win, you celebrate. So, but that is a fair game. So what we expect is the process will be very smooth, and we expect Kenyans to embrace whoever is going to be, elected or even appointed to lead this commission.
And of course, now the IEBC Masit has got 10 days to appeal. All right, and the President has 30 days to act after receiving.
So it is within her right. If she will appeal, then she has a right to be heard, and it is within the law. So the President is also acting within the law. Actually, is not acting outside the law.
He's acting within the law. All right. Christmas, your closing remarks?
My prayer is that the selection committee that is going to be put in place, they be allowed to do their work. We want to start by building an independent IEBC, by making sure even this first process of recruiting the commissioners is as free and fair and transparent as much as possible, so that the product can also be something that we as a country can be able to trust. We don't want to go to 2027 with an IEBC that we don't trust. So they have over 4 years to prepare for an election. Can they be able to be allowed? Can we be able to have a transparently recruited team that will be able to deliver on the promise, build an institution that will be able to deliver an election, prepare Kenyans very well for the election, and we are able to have an election that is we can go home celebrating as a country come 2027.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, I think if we continue from there, we will destroy what we've just built. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. We will be speaking to Crispus Wathimba, who is a governance expert and a political analyst, as well as Junior Omulo, who is the Director of Political Affairs at the Amani National Congress. He's just said that ANC is here to stay. It's not folding shop. We'll bring you back here again to tell us what will happen. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Just to remind you that the president actually gazetted 7 people who are going to be members of the selection panel. Let me give you the names. One of them is Bethwel Sugut, Novice Atieno, Charity Kisotu, Evans Misati, Benson Ngugi, Nelson Makanda, and Fatuma Saman as members of the IEBC selection panel. Now they are down to work, and their work is now cut out. As they've said, they need a transparent IEBC that will steer this country to the next general election. All right about now, we are crossing over to Zinga, Radio Taifa, where we have got Deputy Governor Francis Mwangangi of Machakos County talking matters, devolution and development with Dora Manya on Radio Taifa. Dora Manya, hujambo? Kama uko tayari, kazi kwako.
Naam, hujambo mtazamaji wa KBC Channel 1 na vile vile msikilizaji wa KBC Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya. Tunakuletea gumzo pevu moja kwa moja kupitia KBC Radio Taifa na vile vile channel yako ambayo unaienzi, KBC Channel 1. Tulivyokuwa tumekujuza hapo awali kwamba tutakuwa tunaangazia masuala ya ugatuzi na maendeleo kama vile tulifanya juma lililopita. Fuatilia mjadala huu kupitia mitandao yetu ya kijamii, katika mtandao wetu wa Facebook KBC Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya, vile vile kwenye Twitter @DoraManya, @Radio Taifa FM, @KBC Channel 1 na vile vile @Captain Njoroge 1, #Zinga, #Good Morning Kenya. Tunakukaribisha. Na juma lililopita bila shaka tulikuwa na uongozi wa kaunti ya Murang'a tukiweza kuangazia masuala ya ugatuzi unavyoendelea tangu kuasisiwa miaka 10 iliyopita. Na hii leo tunaye gavana wa kaunti ama naibu gavana wa kaunti ya Machakos, Mheshimiwa Francis Mwangangi Kilonzo, ambaye pia atakuwa anaangazia maendeleo katika kaunti ya Machakos. Na kumbuka kwamba mtazamaji na msikilizaji ni kwamba kaunti ya Machakos ni miongoni mwa kaunti ambazo zina uwezo mkubwa wa kuendelea. Lakini je, mikakati ipi imewekwa na gavana wa Vinya Ndeti na naibu wake Francis Mwangangi ili kuendeleza maendeleo na ugatuzi katika kaunti hiyo ya Machakos? Ndivyo hii leo tumemwalika Mheshimiwa Mwangangi ambaye ni naibu gavana wa kaunti ya Machakos na vile vile aliwahi kuwa mbunge wa zamani katika eneo bunge la Yata kati ya mwaka 2013 na mwaka 2017 kuweka bayana masuala haya. Karibu sana mtazamaji na vile vile msikilizaji wa KBC Radio Taifa. Mheshimiwa Mwangangi, karibu sana katika studio zetu.
Asante.
Machakos ni mbali
Karibu tu hapa town. Kwanza unajua mahali tuko inapaswa kuwa Machakos. Kwa sababu mipaka ilikuwa Mombasa Road kupita hapa Uhuru Highway kuchukua Forest Road, Murang'a. The whole of Thika East is supposed to be part of Machakos. Kilimaboko hii yote watu kusongesha tu wanasongesha pole. Lakini Machakos is a rural city county. Yeah.
Okay, ni county ambayo iko mashinani na vile vile ni vile unasema ni city.
Yes.
Na huko Machakos kauli mbiu ya gavana wa Vinya Ndeti ilikuwa ni chakula mezani, pesa mfukoni.
Yeah.
Chakula kipo mezani na kuna pesa katika mifuko ya watu wa county ya Machakos.
Na kwanza unajua historia inaniambia kwamba Machakos town ilikuwa the first capital city of this country. So hii kusukuma inatutatiza, lakini twende kwa chakula mezani, pesa mfukoni. Hayo ni majukumu ya gavana wangu, ni majukumu yangu pia binafsi, ni majukumu yetu, na tunaendelea na hilo kuhakikisha ya kwamba watu wamepata chakula na watu wako na pesa, na kuna ile mikakati imewekwa nikimsaidia gavana wangu, na hiyo mikakati ni kama kwanza kuwapea watu maji, kuwatengenezea mabarabara, kwa sababu hata ukiwa na maji usalishe ukuze kilimo, usalishe chakula chako ama yale unakuza, pia utahitaji barabara uende upeleke sokoni, na ingine ni kuhakikisha hizo soko siko. Hayo sio majukumu ya kuyafanya ni mwaka mmoja, ni mwaka is a whole process and we are on course. Yeah.
Okay, na kwa sababu tumeanza tayari mjadala, ni miezi michache tangu mchukue afisi, wewe pamoja na gavana wa Vinya Ndeti. Labda mlipochukua afisi, tumesikia kaunti zingine zikilalama, labda kulikuwa na madeni kwa sana, hali haikuwa nzuri. Tangu ninyi kuchukua afisi ama nafasi ya uongozi miezi michache iliyopita, mlipata vipi kaunti ya Machakos baada ya miaka 10 ya uongozi wa Daktari Alfred Mutua?
Kwanza ni mshukuru Daktari Alfred Mutua kwa sababu alitenda, unajua aliingia wakati wa ugatuzi ambao ulikuwa unaanza. Kwa hivyo aliweza kutenda yale alitenda na akaenda zake. Lakini tulipoingia tulikuwa tunajua tuko na ile pending bills kama bilioni 2. Hiyo ndio tulikuwa tunajua kutoka nje. Lakini kuingia ndani tukapata ni zaidi ya bilioni 3.1. Na hiyo ni pesa mingi. Kumaanisha kwamba ile pesa, na vile kwanza kabla sijaenda hapo, vile tu tuliingia hivi tukapata barua kutoka kwa controller of budget. Anataka kujua ikiwa atawapea county ya Machakos pesa, tuko na mikakati hipi ya kulipa hizi pending bills. Pia serikali kuu ikawa hiyo ndio everywhere, ikawa ndio national calling Krelion call. Lakini pending bills ziko hata kwa serikali kuu, lakini tunaendelea kungangana kwa sababu we had to give a program. Tutalipa vipi hawa makandarasi ambao walifanya kazi na hawakuweza kulipwa, na tuweza kushirikiana na tunaendelea kungangana, tutalipa tu. Yeah.
Ninyi kama serikali ya kaunti ya Machakos, labda tueleze tu ni maeneo gani ambayo umepea kipaumbele kuhakikisha kwamba wananchi wanafaidi hasa katika ugatuzi na maendeleo ya kaunti?
Kwanza kuna maneno ya maji, hiyo tumeipa kipaumbele, maneno ya barabara, na maneno ya kupea watu mbegu, maneno ya kilimo, na tunashirikiana kuona ya kwamba PWDs and wazazi wetu ambao wamestaafu kuona kwamba tunawachunga, kwa sababu wakati huu wa kiangazi hawa ndio watu wanaumia zaidi. So tunaendelea kungangana kupitia kwa the resources zile tuko nazo, na tunaendelea kuona ya kwamba tumewasaidia. Jambo la pili ni Machakos ikiwa ni county ambayo ni rural city county, tunaangalia ni vipi tutaleta wawekezaji, ndio watu wetu wanaosoma wanawacha college, universities ama vyuo vikuu, tuone ya kwamba tumesaidiana wapate kazi. Tunafanya kazi kwa karibu sana na serikali kuu kwa mipango ingine kuona ya kwamba ikiwa ni barabara ile hatuwezi fanya, tumeshirikiana wamefanya. Ikiwa ni attracting investment to that rural city county of Machakos, tuone ya kwamba pia tumeungana na ile hatuwezi fanya, serikali kuu tunasaidiana, ama ina guarantee county ya Machakos kupitia kwa maybe mashirika kama World Bank na wengine kuona kwamba hizo miradi zinajaribu kuendelea. Na niseme ideally ugatuzi haikuwa gavana awe watu wa siasa. lazima ukae chini ufikirie zaidi hii county utaiendesha aje, na ndio gavana alipoingia tu tukisaidiana aliweza kuanzisha task forces 5 of them kuangalia our systems, kuangalia wale watu tunalipa mshahara kila mwezi ni wao wapo ama hawako ama ni vipi. Tuangalia kwamba hao watu tunalipa wengi kiasi hiki, kila mmoja anafanya nini, na kuangalia also this pending bills, because kuna watu wanaweza kuwa wanasema tulifanya hii lakini labda walishirikiana na watu walagai kuweka makampuni zao na kuhakikisha kwamba wanangojea kulipwa mamilioni. Kwa hivyo na upande mwingine wa hiyo gavana aliweza kuchanganya professionals like akona advisors wawili watatu ambao ni watu wanaheshimika katika taifa letu na ni watu wamefanya mengi, like ya kwamba yule aliyekuwa financial secretary katika finance Mutua Kilaka ni one of the advisors. Kwanza ile maneno ya task force kuangalia pending bills, he played a key role. Kuangalia aliyekuwa anasimamia Architectural Society of Kenya ambaye miradi mingi ya serikali ni yeye amefanya, pia ni msaidizi wake, na pia wanarika hawajaacha nyuma, wako pale wakisaidiana, kwa sababu hiyo yote ikichanganywa pamoja, gavana wetu nikimsaidia na cabinet ministers wale tuko na wao, tutaweza kusongesha Machakos mbele.
Mwelekezi wangu ananiambia tuchukue pumziko la haraka sana, kisha baadaye tutakuwa tunarejea. Msikilizaji na mtazamaji wa KBC Channel 1, muda mfupi ujao utakuwa tunarejea na naibu gavana wa kaunti ya Machakos.
The National Youth Service will hold its pass-out graduation ceremony on 3rd March 2023. His Excellency the President Dr. William Samoei Ruto will be the guest of honor during the pass-out parade to be held at NYS Paramilitary Academy in Gilgil, Nakuru County. Follow the proceedings live on KBC Channel 1 on Friday 3rd March 2023 from 10 a.m. NYS, huduma kwa taifa.
Abantu ba Minto Mbuyamole. Your favorite Ekegusi station, Minto FM, is now at your doorstep. Enjoy the hottest Kisi music, informative and entertaining shows, and reliable news only on Minto FM. Tune in to Minto FM on 91.7 FM in Nyamira, Kisii and its environs. Minto FM
It's not what you think, Marisol.
You want to tell me something? Tell me. I'm listening. What is it?
Alone.
No, you are not going anywhere.
What's that?
I said you're not going anywhere. You will stay right here with me.
What's with the bag, Fabi? Where are you going?
Fabiola is leaving the house.
Naam, karibu tena mtazamaji wa KBC Channel 1 na vile vile msikilizaji wa KBC Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya. Nikitumai ya kwamba unaendelea kufuatilia majadiliano haya tunapoangazia masuala ya ugatuzi, na hii leo tunapiga darubini katika kaunti ya Machakos, kaunti ambayo inaongozwa na Mheshimiwa Wavinya Ndeti. Lakini studioni tunaye naibu gavana kutoka kaunti hiyo, Mheshimiwa Francis Mwangangi Kilonzo, kuweka tu bayana baadhi ya mambo na jinsi kaunti ya Machakos wanavyoendelea katika shughuli zao za kila siku, na sana sana kuhakikisha kwamba ugatuzi unaweza kufanikiwa. Karibu sana mheshimiwa, baada ya pumziko hilo fupi, na kwa sababu ya muda tuangalie katika hili swala. Umegusia tayari priority areas kama county, masuala ya maji, mambo mbalimbali, lakini kwa sasa tunazungumzia masuala ya ukame hapa nchini Kenya. County mbalimbali zimeathirika, county ya Machakos haijaachwa nyuma. Labda pia utupatie taswira Machakos kuko vipi na mnafanya nini kuhakikisha kwamba mwananchi hawezi kuangamia kutokana na baa la njaa?
Machakos pia kuna ukame na watu wanaathirika pakubwa, na nishukuru gavana wetu kwa sababu ameshirikiana na serikali kuu kuona ya kwamba Machakos County imerudishwa katika ile orodha ya ASO counties ambazo zimeathirika pakubwa. So yale tumefanya, tuko na water companies, na kuna hizi water companies gavana wangu wameweza kupeana jukumu, angalie kwamba ikiwa ni shule tumetumia bosses watu wapewe maji, na tusaidiane wale hawana, tuone wakati huu kwa Kristo ni wakati wa Kwaresma, na tunaomba ya kwamba tuombe, tutubu dhambi zetu, na ile kidogo mtu ako nayo ashare na yule ana. Kwa hivyo ni wito gavana alianza mapema wakati hiki kiangazi kilipoanza, na tunaendelea kung'ang'ana kama watu wa Machakos, lakini ni ukweli kiangazi kipo na zile rivers ambazo tulikuwa nazo zingine zime dry, na to make matters worse, very worse indeed, when you see the main river ile ambayo tunatumia sana, Athi River, chafu yote ya Nairobi, sewage yote inamwagwa huko, industrial waste inamwagwa huko. Lakini nishukuru serikali hii ambayo imekuja the other day, walichaguliwa vile tulichaguliwa, tumeona wameanza mikakati ya kusafisha huo mto. Lakini kama eneo, not only Machakos County, lakini eneo yote ya Ukambani kwenda all the way to Coast region, watu wengi wanatumia huu mto wa Athi kuona kwamba wamekuza chakula, wamekunywa maji, na wamepata maji ya kupea mifugo yao. Na ujue hii river Athi pia ndio the main source of Konza Techno City water through Thwake Dam. Na Thwake Dam by mwaka ujao itakuwa inakamilika. Sasa tusiposafisha huu mto basi tutakuwa tumeharibu fedha nyingi sana kutengeneza Thwake Dam na Konza Techno City. Na ujue maybe that will be a huge sewerage route ikiwa hatutakuwa tumesafisha huu mto, na kutakuwa na haja, tutakuwa tumeharibu so much resources which could have been used to do something else. Na pia maneno ya kansa, maneno ya magonjwa mengi ambayo tujui inatoka wapi. Saa hii kutoka kwa records zetu za afya katika wizara yetu huko Machakos, tunaona kwamba watu wengi wanangojeka zaidi sana kupitia mahali huu mto unapita, kuonyesha ya kwamba kuna link between what people are consuming na ile chafu iliyoko pale. Kwa hivyo ni ombi langu tuone ya kwamba tumefanya juu chini kuona ya kwamba tumeusafisha huu mto.
Umegusia sana mito ya maji, na vile vile najua kama kaunti ya Machakos umekuwa mkitegemea sana bwawa lile la Maruba, na maybe kwa wiki kama 2 hivi pia huenda ikakauka. Mnapangaje kuhakikisha kwamba mwananchi atakuwa salama? Manake maji ni jambo ambalo ni la muhimu sana.
We are doing some boreholes na kuna bores zingine ziko na maji zaidi, so tutatumia hizo, tutumia water bosses tuone ya kwamba watu wetu wamepewa maji wale wanahitaji, lakini tunaomba Mwenyezi Mungu kwa sababu a few weeks from now mimi naamini mvua itakuja na Mungu atakuwa na watu wake. Yeah.
Okay. Kabla tuzungumze kidogo masuala ya siasa, ndio ulitaja kuhusu maeneo ama priority areas kama county, ukazungumzia masuala ya afya, mambo ya maji, lakini tuangalie kuna county zingine ambazo kwa mfano masuala ya elimu wanaangalia sana watoto wa chekechea kuhakikisha kwamba wana chakula so msimu huo wakati kumekauka na kuna matatizo, kama county ya Machakos, japo katika masuala ya lishe katika shule labda kidogo kuna kitu ambacho mnafanya?
A month ago gavana wetu aliweza kupea shule zetu za chekechea chakula, na sasa hivi wako na chakula kila shule, na ile aina niongeleshe sasa hivi ni make sure wameipata in the next few hours, sababu wote wako na chakula, wakue shuleni, wakule, walale, walishe vizuri, well balanced food. Hiyo tulianzisha hapa Athi River na ikapelekwa kila mahali, na tumeconfirm kwa sababu sisi si watu wa ofisi, ni watu wa ofisi alafu naenda kwa raia. Hiyo hakuna shule ya chekechea ambayo haina chakula unless imepelekwa mahali ingine. Kila shule katika Machakos County inapaswa kuwa na chakula. Kila mtoto gavana anasema apate na amepata.
Kwa hivyo watoto wana chakula cha kutosha.
Watoto wako na chakula.
Pia tuangalie swala la afya. Umegusia tayari pia ile mito kuchafuliwa na labda kuchangia katika magonjwa kama vile saratani. Tuangalie sekta ya afya. Hivi majuzi kama nilipata vizuri, pia gavana alikuwa analipia watu bills ama na wave bills hospitalini na mambo kama yale. Tueleze kidogo taswira ilivyo kuhusiana na afya katika kaunti ya Machakos.
Si zuri vile, lakini tunangangana. Afya katika kaunti yetu, unajua ni sisi ni baadhi ya zile counties tulikuwa na universal health coverage. Kwa hivyo tulipoanzisha hiyo huduma ya universal health coverage, huduma nyingi tulitoa watu kulipia, so hiyo burden ikawa bado iko kwa county. By the way, almost 40% of the total budget ya Machakos inaenda katika afya, na ukienda watu bado wanalia mandawa, wanalia hii kwa sababu we are being affected by this universal health coverage. Tulipoanza huduma zote zilikuwa zikuwe free na ijawahi legesho, ndio tuone ya kwamba tukileta mandawa leo, the neighboring counties wote wana flock up, unapata karibu after siku moja au mbili mandawa ya karibu milioni 50 imekwisha. So tuko na hiyo challenge, lakini we are addressing. Lile naweza omba watu wetu katika taifa letu, not only in Machakos County, tuko na huduma ya afya ya kitaifa, National Hospital Insurance. It used to be Insurance Fund, and I think now it's National Health Insurance Fund. Watu walipe, watu wakuwe wanachama na wa make sure wamelipa. Unaweza kuwa milionea wiki hii, lakini baada ya wiki mbili ama mwezi mmoja ama miezi miwili, kitu inaweza tokana na huko upate ya kwamba wewe ni mtu unachangiwa ukiwa uko hospitali. So mind about your own health. Nimeweza kufika hapa kwa sababu Mungu amenijalia niko na afya. Unaweza unanioji kwa sababu ni Mungu amekujalia afya. So naomba watu wetu kila mahali, na ni campaign tunaifanya Machakos juu chini, tuone ya kwamba karibu kila mwananchi wa Kenya ambaye anaishi Machakos ni mwanachama wa National Hospital Insurance Fund. Yeah.
Shukrani sana kwa hilo, na nilitaka tukuuliza kwa sekunde chache. Kuna zile kaunti ambazo unakuta kwamba wanasema ndio hospitali zipo, tuko na building facility ipo, lakini either hakuna madawa ama hakuna madaktari. Machakos kwa vipi?
tuko average. Sitakwambia tuko na kila kitu. Mandawa tunayo na si all the time kwa sababu pesa pia ni challenge, lakini tunahakikisha kwamba hospitali zetu hazikae bila mandawa. Tunaangalia kwamba zile hospitali ziko na so many healthcare workers, tunatoa huko tunapeleka ndio tukuwe balanced. Almost every healthcare facility in Machakos ikuwe inaendelea kufanya kazi, lakini kuna zingine zilijengwa pengine either CDF ama kupitia serikali kuu ama kupitia wawekezaji wengine ama kupitia national non-government organizations, na zote wakijenga wanaleta kwetu. Tunaangalia kwa sababu hizo ni huduma kwa wananchi. Tunaangalia tuweke kwa budget ndio tuone ya kwamba hizo zote zinafanya kazi to the advantage of our people. Na niseme ya kwamba Machakos as a rural city county, we need to make some strategic moves. Strategic moves is like opening up through some infrastructural investments. Like we have a road which is of its kind since independence. Haijawahi wekwa lami. Tungeendelea kuomba serikali yetu ingeifanya dual carriage way. Hii Nairobi, Matungulu, Kamgundo, Mwala Road. Na hiyo barabara almost 3 presidents wanga wanasema tutafanya hii watu wa hii na tukifungua hiyo corridor it will bring a lot of investment and so many Kenyans will have gainful employment. Jambo la pili na la mwisho ni kwamba I wish tuangalie actually ni onyo kwa sababu kuna massive land grabbing in Machakos County, particularly Mavoko, Matungulu na so many other areas. Tumekuwa na case na watu wanatoka all the way from Nakuru wanakuja ku grab almost 1,000 acres in Machakos. Tunaambia hao wote tunawaweka kwa darubini.
Tunajipangaje kusuluhisha swala hilo na masquatter aswa pale Mavoko?
We have a plan in place and we will ensure genuine Kenyans wale wame-acquire their properties and it is guarded in the law, they are not disturbed by anyone. But any land grabber, we will be very ruthless because we need such a land for our people to invest. For anyone coming to invest in that particular part of the county to invest freely and create wealth for this country and for the locals. Sasa ukikuja kugrab and you are grabbing for speculation and selling, subdividing to sell, we will not agree on that. That one tawambia haitafanyika when we have the current governor and deputy in office. Hiyo wangojea siku ingine. Hiyo we are ruthless on that. We have to protect Kenyans who are residing and living in Machakos. This is not to say we are chasing away investors. No, we are trying to safeguard the interest of our county, of our people from enemies of development who are land grabbers.
Okay. Hapo kwa sababu umetumia maneno ruthless, tusalie pale. Umekuwa tough sana kwa swala hilo. Ufisadi kwa ufupi sana. Donda sugu hapa nchini Kenya na katika counties, na vile vile kuna ripoti ambayo ilitolewa nafikiri kwamba counties nyingi hazijaweka priority ya pesa katika masuala ambayo yanahitajika. County ya Machakos iko katika ile orodha. Hali vipi?
Yule alieka hapo ni alitoa tu anataka kuona gavana ako picha yake wanafurahia ikiwa pale. Ukiangalia ukienda kwa ripoti yenyewe utaona ya kwamba sisi tunaendelea kimaendeleo na tunaendelea kuhakikisha kila mwezi kaunti zetu tunaona watu wengi, kaunti nyingi hazilipi watu ya Machakos wanga tuchelewei kulipa watu. Na hiyo watu hawasemi. Jambo lingine ni kwamba pesa nyingi wanga zinachelewa kutoka national government. Na kwa sababu leo tulikuwa tunazungumzia ungatuzi, unikubalie niombe ruhusa niseme hivi. Najua serikali zilizopita tangu tuanze ungatuzi 2010 constitution ambayo ilileta hii maneno ya ungatuzi, tumeona ya kwamba watu devolved functions zinapelekwa counties lakini pesa inabaki Nairobi. Ukiangalia bajeti ya wizara ya afya, wizara ya kilimo, wizara ya maji katika serikali central government ni kubwa kushinda ile inaenda kwa county. Yet wanafanya functions that are not supposed to be done by national government. Tumepata sasa capacity. We can do any project because over the years waliotutangulia gavana wangu Alfred Mutua, daktari, walifanya mengi kuweka systems in place za serikali kuhakikisha kwamba ikiwa ni maneno ya kilimo tuko na wizara iko na all specialist iko na everything that needs, lakini unapata watu wetu wanaenda kuketi pale. Kwa sababu gani? Function ilipelekwa katika county lakini pesa ilibaki Nairobi. Sasa niombe serikali, kwa sababu hiyo si mambo ya hii serikali, ni mambo imekuwa. Niombe serikali iliyoko sasa, kwa sababu tuko na kiongozi ambaye amechaguliwa kama rais, ambaye ni mtu wa Kenya wamemwona akiwa a village boy, akaendelea akamaliza shule, akauza kuku, akafanya mambo mingi mpaka Mungu amemsaidia amefika mahali amefika. Anaelewa hizi challenges. Sio ndio namuomba. Pesa yote ya ungatuzi na yale mashirika yanafanya iko kwa kitaifa na inafanya maneno ya yale yangekuwa inafanywa na counties, hizo fedha na hayo mashirika yaende counties. Ndio counties zetu zi function kama the way they should be. Uliniuliza specific question ya corruption ya Machakos na vile gavana alikuwa pale. Na kuambia kwamba they say if you don't plan you are planning to fail. For the last few months tumekuwa ofisini, we have been planning, and very soon the little that is remaining Wakenya wataona na wananchi wa Machakos watajifunia kaunti yao na uongozi bora. Yeah.
Tukielekea kutamatisha, uhusiano wako na gavana wa Vinya Ndeti uko vipi? Zipo tetesi kwamba kidogo mwelewani, na pia katika baadhi ya viongozi ambao walichagua pia ukufurahia.
Hapana. Hakuna utetesi kati ya mimi na gavana. Lakini ujue tuko katika ofisi za siasa. Tukiwa katika ofisi za siasa, ashawahi kuwa mbunge, ameshakuwa naibu wa waziri, na ametumikia serikali kwa levels tofauti. Si vizuri kusema kwamba we don't have different opinions, but that does not lead to disagreements, because she is the governor. We know the role of a governor. She has to be respected. We pray for her and we support her to succeed. Our success is my biggest joy, because if she fails, people of Machakos wataniambia hata wewe ulikuwa na yeye. Ikiwa kuna wizi ulitendeka, ulikuwa hapo, you are part of it. So I have every duty to ensure nimeenda kanisani, nimuombe, nikiomba nimkumbuke na nimshike mkono, kwa sababu nataka a succeed. Ndio Mungu akinijalia wakati wangu utakapofika, watu hawataniambia wewe tulichagua gavana na ukaenda kumchokoza. Hatutaki hiyo maneno. Na niwaeleze manaibu gavana wenzangu across the country, gavana amechaguliwa kwa ofisi. Don't allow your political ambitions to ensure the county is not smoothly run. Wewe ngojea, Mungu ako na mpango wa each one of you, na kuna sababu kwa nini yule ni gavana na wewe ni naibu. Hiyo ukiiweka maanani, kutakuwa na masuala mengi ati huyo anafanya hii, huyo anakimbia hii, unataka kunyakua hii, yule hapana. Hiyo tuangalie na tuweke watu wetu mbele. Kwa hivyo hayo wanaosema namna hiyo ati kuna mahali kuna tofauti yangu, maybe tofauti ya opinion, ningeonelea maoni yangu hii na yeye anaona hii, na hiyo ni sawa sawa, inakubalika. Na nieleze watu wa Machakos, hii county, watu wa Machakos, they expect a lot of because of what happened between the founding governor and the founding deputy. Walikuwa na tofauti zao, sikaenda hizo tofauti zikakuwa za kisiasa na maneno yakaendelea ikakuwa mbaya. Hiyo sio kitendeka Machakos. Tutajaribu juu chini na tuombe Mwenyezi Mungu ya kwamba hiyo isitendeke. Na la mwisho ni kwamba tukiwa katika maofisi ya siasa, lazima our competitors ambao tuliwashinda na wengine wangependa kuingia kwa hizi maofisi wakuwe na those kind of things, kwa sababu wanajua mimi nikikosana na gavana wa Vinya we are done. So hatutakubalia hiyo watafuta kazi mahali ingine, hiyo haitakuwa.
Kwa hivyo mnatarajia kupeleka wapi kaunti ya Machakos kwa sekunde chache miaka 5 ijayo?
Miaka 5 ijayo there will be a lot of transformation, there will be change in Machakos. Hiyo ndio focus yetu sahi, tuone kwamba watu wetu wako na chakula mezani na pesa wanayo mfukoni. We will try all we can to attract investment within our county. We will try all we can to promote internal investment. We will try within the country to also talk to investors so that they can invest in our county and we end up transforming our county. Jambo lingine ni we work closely with the national government so that the serikali kuu ile miradi inapaswa kufanyika Machakos imefanyika na imefanyika smoothly without any politics in it, because tuko hapo kwa sababu ya watu wetu wa Machakos. Hatuko hapo kwa sababu ya sisi. Hatuko hapo kwa sababu ya maofisi kubwa. Hapana, tuko hapo kufanyia wananchi wa Machakos kazi.
Yeah. Kwa hivyo hadi kwa watu wa Machakos mko tayari kufanyia kazi?
Tuko tayari kabisa. Yeah.
Sawa, kwa sababu ya muda nafikiri tutakomea pale kwa leo. Mheshimiwa, utatenga muda tena utakuja tuongee vizuri kuhusu mambo ya Machakos. Maji sana pale. Kuna mengi tunafaa kuzungumza kuhusu maji na mambo mengine mbalimbali. Lakini asante kutenga muda kufika katika studio zetu, na pia siasa kidogo tungefaa kupiga lakini muda utaturuhusu. Asante.
Asante.
Msikilizaji wa KBC Radio Taifa na vile vile mtazamaji wa KBC Channel 1, shukrani sana kutenga muda kuweza kufuatilia majadiliano haya kupitia runinga yako na vile vile kupitia KBC Radio Taifa sauti ya Mkenya. Fuatilia mjadala katika mitandao yetu ya kijamii, najua utafikia naibu gavana na kiongozi wataweza kurespond kwa mambo mbalimbali ambayo pia yamejitokeza pale. Lakini kwa leo shukrani zaidi kutenga muda. Ningependa kusema asante sana kwa mwelekezi wa kipindi hiki Bi Lucy Wahome, vile vile kaimu mkurugenzi Bwana Samuel Maina, mkuu wa redio Bi Mary Daraja, na vile vile mkuu wa kitengo Bwana Martin Kingasia, bila kusahau chief producer Geoffrey Onditi na TV crew yote wakiongozwa na Martin Jeru, na vile vile technical team wakiongozwa na Kimani Mbigi. Shukrani sana kutenga muda wenu na kufanya kazi nzuri kufanikisha makala ya Jumanne hii ya Gumzo Pevu ndani ya Zinga na vile vile ndani ya Good Morning Kenya. Mimi naitwa Dora Manya. Endelea kufuata vipindi vyetu kwenye television na vile vile kupitia KBC Radio Taifa sauti ya Mkenya.
Wacha kunificha. Wewe ni mtu najua tangu. Wewe si mtu wa kukaa kwa nyumba 24 hours.
Tulia, relax. Unaenda wapi?
Yuko wapi?
Nani?
Melissa yuko wapi?
Tulia, Melissa atakuja kukuona.
Sijakufa.
Kwa hivyo utajaribu kujiua tena?
Sasa inajua umeona venye wife amekufanya. Unajua vitu hizi saa zingine si take for granted.
Mbona unaonekana nikao umjui?
Ni kama simjui lakini najua utanieleza baadaye.
Mimi ni mwanaume, kuna vitu mingi wanafaa kusort. Na chapa yote umetumia lazima ndakurudishia.
Zigi.
Hii story tumemaliza.
You've decided?
After we leave this place, I will find a good time to finally tell him the truth and why I lied to him.
What games are these two playing?
I'm fine. That's all you've been asking me. You know I'm embarrassed. Do you think I'm fine? I didn't know you also loved food.
It's not the food. It's the feeling.
Little piggy, I know you'd better than that. You're obsessed with ice cream.
Whenever I felt alone, I hoped to get a letter from her. Every time I got her letter, I was happy for the whole day and felt I should work much harder so I wouldn't let her down.
It's not what you think, Marisol.
You want to tell me something? Tell me. I'm listening. What is it?
Alone.
No, you are not going anywhere.
What's that?
I said you're not going anywhere. You will stay right here with me.
What's with the bag, Fabi? Where are you going?
Fabiola is leaving the house.
Pindi tunapowasha vifaa vyetu, tunapata fursa ya kutangamana na wasikilizaji wetu.
Karibu sana thĩinĩ wa tabarĩra ya Rwĩga.
Tunapeperusha utangazaji uliobobea katika habari,
nĩ ũndũ wa macio na mangĩ maingĩ,
burudani,
nĩ harĩa tũkoragwo tũkĩigua nyĩmbo mwaki nyĩmbo hota
na hamasisho la kiroho. Usiachwe nyuma. Jiunge nasi kwa safari ya kufana katika 99.5 FM. Shoro FM.
Think, Marisol.
You want to tell me something? Tell me. I'm listening. What is it?
Alone.
No, you are not going anywhere.
What's that?
I said you're not going anywhere. You will stay right here with me.
What's with the bag, Fabi? Where are you going?
Fabiola is leaving the house.
Wacha kujificha. Wewe ni mtu najua tangu. Wewe si mtu wa kukaa kwa nyumba 24 hours.
Tulia, relax. Unaenda wapi?
Yuko wapi?
Nani?
Melissa yuko wapi?
Tulia, Melissa atakuja kukuona.
Sijakufa.
Kwa hivyo utajaribu kujiua tena.
Sasa inajua umeona venye wife amekufanya. Unajua vitu hizi saa zingine si take for granted.
Mbona unaonekana nikao umjui?
Ni kama simjui lakini najua utanieleza baadaye.
Mimi mwanaume kuna vitu mingi wanafaa kusort. Na chapa yote umetumia lazima ndakurudishia.
Zigi.
Hii story tumemaliza.
Decided?
After we leave this place, I will find a good time to finally tell him the truth and why I lied to him.
What game are these two playing?
I'm fine, I'm fine. That's all you've been asking me. You know I'm embarrassed. Do you think I'm fine? I didn't know you also loved food.
It's not the food, it's the feeling.
Little piggy, I know you'd better than that. You're obsessed with ice cream.
Whenever I felt alone, I hoped to get a letter from her. Every time I got her letter, I was happy for the whole day and felt I should work much harder so I wouldn't let her down.
Enjoy a selection of the best. Regina Ray and Tingazi.
Bado hujamwambia unamlike. Umerealize hajamwachilia mkono kutoka nikuja hapa.
Love blossoms in Mexico with the trio sisters in Las Bandidas.
I beg you, please don't go.
I want you to be the happiest man in the world with a woman who appreciates and respects you.
An array of music rave.
Make me lie when I don't want to.
Blues.
You are my everything.
Two local gems. And we sit to chat with the Thiambo.
You know, I can't even tell whether you're looking at me, seeing me, with the Louis Vuitton.
Classic comedy.
Makono too. Say that again.
Enjoy the Divas programming this February only on KBC Channel 1. Kenya's watching.
Exactly 9 minutes past the top of the hour. You're right in time for our health conversation this Tuesday morning. We'll look at the kidney disease burden in our country, what interventions are being made as far as this disease is concerned, just what exactly also causes this disease in the first place, and where we are in terms of data and statistics so far. I am holding court with Ali Kapusia, who is the senior nephrology nurse, and right next to him is Donna Muguna, who is a renal nutritionist, and also she will be walking us through her journey as far as kidney disease is concerned. Lady and gent, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to latch on this particular conversation with you, Dr. particularly in terms of data and statistics. Whilst preparing for this conversation, I came across the fact that, is it 2.8 billion exactly? This is the amount that NHIF used as far as funding kidney disease is concerned. This was in 2021. In fact, from this particular report that they released on the analysis, it did indicate that this was the highest amount they used on a particular disease, and also they had to fund slightly about 300,000 Kenyans as far as dialysis treatment is concerned. Just from where you sit as nephrologist, what do you make of this data?
Thank you first for having me. It is true. I mean, I may not give you the right figures in terms of money.
Yes.
But this disease is very expensive. Mm-hmm. We are talking of twice dialysis, 2 sessions a week for every patient. So twice a week, and it's throughout, I mean, as long as you need it.
2 sessions a week.
2 sessions a week, and every session is 9,500 shillings. We are talking of the NHIF, the amount NHIF uses.
So in 1 week, it's
in a week we are talking of
19,000.
Yeah.
Just in a single week.
In a week, we are talking of one patient. That's not a month; it's a week, and sometimes some patients may need even more sessions than one. So
when you say more, is like how many in a week?
3 times a week. 3 times a week. Sometimes some may need alternate days. Like you dialyze today, you skip tomorrow, the next day, like that. So
The figure could, in my opinion, it is. It may not be. It may be higher.
Could be higher than even what was
could be
released in
higher
the
than
analysis.
that.
But you know that was 2021. So perhaps last year is something.
It could be higher.
Yeah.
And we are talking of the number of patients. At least we are lucky now as a country. We have the knowledge of kidney disease is really increasing because the awareness at first was. You may think it's a new disease that's coming up. It is not. It has always been there, but these are some of those emerging diseases that we are getting. I mean, the awareness is getting improved every other day, and we have so many patients, and on average, 10% of the population.
10% of the population.
Yeah.
You're saying knowledge is at least increasing steadily.
Yes.
But we'll come to the causes momentarily.
Sure.
Donna, you were diagnosed with this disease in 2013.
Yeah.
But from that point, I mean, up until 2016, that's when you got to the last stage.
Yeah.
First of all, just even before we go to where we are currently, because now you are on dialysis, which just as the doctor was mentioning, quite expensive. A lot of money being incurred just for this particular treatment. On that first test, as you got and you're pronounced as having a kidney failure, what was going through your mind in this moment?
To be sincere, I was too young to understand what's happening. So I was really, I didn't know what's happening. And again, at that time, kidney failure was not, the information and the knowledge about kidney failure was not as it is right now. Right now, you have a lot of people who are supporting you. The families are also taking it in a better way than they took it way back. So way back, kidney failure was like a death sentence to you. And it was not the best experience.
You're only 13 years.
Yeah, I was only 13 years. I was scheduled to do my KCPE.
In that moment of diagnosis?
Yeah, in that moment. And the kidney failure just came as a shock because I started urinating some discarded urine. So it was hard for me to explain. I was in a boarding school, explaining to the matron that my urine is discarded and I'm not on my periods. It was hard. So now when I went to the doctor and the doctor confirmed that you have kidney failure stage 1 and it's chronic kidney failure, so it's going to be gradual until it reaches to the end stage. It took like almost the whole year to accept that I'm sick. So whenever I'm given medication, I couldn't take my medication.
You are passing medication?
I was passing medication. And I didn't get the information that the way you keep on passing your medication, then that's the way your kidney failure is progressing to the end stage. So with me passing my medication, I also neared the days for my dialysis. And again, now dialysis is something else. It's not for the faint-hearted anyway.
We'll come to that in a short while, and even really what goes into that. But you're saying you just did pass your medication, and this is perhaps what neared you to dialysis, because right now you are at stage 4?
No, right now I'm in stage 5.
Stage 5. This is the worst stage?
This is the last stage.
The last stage, we can say that. Well, we'll come to that in a short while. But also, just listening to Donna's story, because she was 13. This is a young age. You know, there's some ages where you really couldn't... Just how our mindset is set, I should say. There are some ages where you really wouldn't be expecting to hear of some certain kind of conditions. But is this a preserve of age? Or anyone just can get kidney failure or kidney disease? And even as you respond to that, what causes this?
Okay, that's really that's a very good question. That sometimes you may think some conditions come with age, and yes, they do, majorly. But kidney disease can occur at any age for lives. In fact, the youngest patient I've ever dialyzed was a 3 days old kid.
3 days?
3 days old. And 3 days old who came with infection. It's called neonatal sepsis, and the kidney got affected and needed dialysis. So, but luckily...
3 days needed dialysis?
Yes. So, of course, they are not going to use the kind of dialysis everybody else uses. It's a special form of dialysis. And then in a week, this baby opened up. I mean, the kidneys opened up, the pre-existing condition was treated, and the kidneys came back luckily.
Okay.
So what I'm really saying is it can happen to anybody.
So there's no preserve of age at all?
No preserve of age. And the other thing that we need to know is that when you say kidney failure, we are talking of an organ, the kidney. So it is the kidney that gets sick. And just like any organ can get sick, you can get your ears get sick, you can get your eyes get sick at any point. You don't have to be old to have your eyes, getting sick, or your ears, or anything for that matter, any organ in that body.
So then what causes this? What are we looking at? Because if I just speak your experience of a 3-year-old baby, much as we'd say age, I'm still trying to imagine, okay, this child, they're infants. What would cause this? Or even as you take Donna's case at 13 years, you're literally still growing and developing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
The thing is, in fact, I said 3 days, not
3
years.
days.
Yes.
So 1, 2, 3.
1 to 3 days.
Literally. Yeah.
So 3 days.
Okay.
So the kidney disease, kidney can be affected by a couple of things. And it happens it can come as an acute case, whereby you have been okay all this time, and then something happens that affects your kidneys within minutes, hours, or even a few days, and you need an intervention. Your kidneys just crashes. And but that one has a potential. The word potential is really, I'm using it very carefully, because if it is not treated early, then you lose it. It doesn't reverse. So it's potentially reversible, meaning you can reverse it if you come to be assisted early.
Yeah.
If you delayed, then you lose it. You lose your kidney completely. Then you need kidney replacement therapy.
So early diagnosis is...
Early diagnosis, very important. Early diagnosis, early intervention, meaning you do the right things. Otherwise, even if you diagnose it early and you do not get the right intervention, you still lose it. Then the other stage of the kidney is the chronic kidney disease, which happens slowly. It doesn't announce, very slowly, very quiet, stealth. So that at the end of the day, you end up crashing. The kidney, by the time you realize, if you're not health conscious, by the time you realize you have no kidney, the tissue has been completely destroyed. So let me start by saying the chronic ones has two causes majorly. One is uncontrolled diabetes.
Okay.
That's number one cause. Uncontrolled, meaning you can have diabetes, but then you control it. You diagnose it early. You may not control it. Sometimes some people tell you, okay, I've had diabetes, but I have been taking my medication. But when did you get to diagnose yourself of the diabetes? Because it could have been there for the last 10 or so years.
Just allow me to butt in. So
sure.
If I'm getting what you're saying, so then it means if you diagnose also diabetes late, it could be a cause for chronic kidney failure. So you could be having 2 in 1.
Okay. Yes. In fact, number one cause, the whole world. That is statistically proven, scientifically, uncontrolled diabetes.
All right.
So, but if you control it, this word control is so important. Okay. When we say uncontrolled, it means if you got it early, you get to diagnose yourself early, and you took the right intervention, you're okay. You will go through it. You may never go to kidney disease. Because what really happens with diabetes is that it messes with almost every other organ. And you know why? It's because it affects the blood vessels. It narrows them completely to a situation whereby the very, very tiny blood vessels at the end of that reaches the tissues, they block. And therefore, when you block your blood reaching any organ, that organ dies. It lacks, you deprive it of oxygen, nutrition, and of course, the waste products remains there and doesn't get out to that kidney. That tissue really dies. Okay. Not only the kidney, even the peripherals of people with diabetes, they lose their peripheral tissues.
All right.
Yeah.
So what's the second one?
The second one is uncontrolled. This word uncontrolled. Uncontrolled hypertension. Hypertension is blood pressure. So these are things that, in fact, kidney disease is majorly controlled. It's controllable. You can control it. You can avoid it. If you can be going to the clinics, not like in my village where everybody says, you don't go to, if you go to the clinics, then anakuuliza kwani wewe ni mama mzito, wewe ni mtoto mdogo. It's not true. That's a really bad culture, right? Okay. So we need to change our culture, whereby we know that to be healthy, you have to be going healthy to the clinics, or people will take you.
I hear
you. You have to take yourself.
I hear you.
Yes.
So for chronic kidney failure, which is also what you are diagnosed with, you're talking of uncontrolled diabetes and uncontrolled hypertension.
Yeah, the two major things.
Two major things. So it means there are also other causes on the side.
Yeah. Okay. In my case, it was the nephrotic syndrome.
What is this?
Doctor will give explanation.
Yeah. So this is what led to this chronic kidney failure for you.
Yeah.
Of course, the doctor will explain that. But then let me still just stick with you, Donna, because you said, you were diagnosed early at stage 1, but it progressed up until stage 5. But you did say earlier on that midway here, you were not taking your medication.
Yeah.
So talk to me about how your support system was like, much as you really had not accepted that this is the condition you had, but how was your support system like? Were they pushing you to take this medication? Were they just, ukikunywa ni sawa, ukikosa? What was it like for you?
My support system was, they really wanted me to take the medication, but now the problem came around because I was in a boarding school, and in boarding school there is nobody to look if you are taking your medication or not. You have to be a grown-up by yourself. So you have to know I have to take my medication, I have to take on my diet, which was also of concern because now I'm in school. So whatever is provided is what I'm supposed to be eating.
There was no special diet for you?
There was no special diet for me.
Had you talked to management that this is your condition, and so maybe I'm just trying to look at maybe if there are ways that this could have been averted, even for those that are in school. Like, had you talked to management that now this is a condition you're battling with, and maybe something special needed to be made for you?
Okay, I think even the management were like, she cannot be sick. So it was hard for anybody to believe that I'm sick.
Okay.
Because I was healthy. I was the healthy person who is the jovial person, and now all of a sudden you're sick, and you're sick from a disease that is termed that you will be sick for the rest of your life. So it was hard for also the management to take it that I'm sick. They're like, maybe it is a misdiagnosis or something. You just cope, let's see what's going to happen. But for us, we will try and do our best. Yeah.
I hear you. Daktari, when you listen to Donna's story, I'm beginning to get inclined that also in one way or another, institutions could at least help alleviate this burden. Why I ask is because I also did come across some certain figures that as a country, and of course maybe you said that this number could increase, you know, but we were looking at 4 million as the number of Kenyans who have kidney disease. And this projection is actually looked at by 2030, this could rise to about 5 to 6 million. And so when you listen to such kind of stories, that the numbers could rise, and here there are even institutions, maybe schools or even a workplace, which in one or the other could at least aid with this. Because you look at the issues of special diet, good eating right, these are some of the interventions for kidney diseases. So when you look at these numbers vis-a-vis interventions being made, where are we? What are we doing? What could we do better?
Okay, thank you so much. What we have is the numbers may not increase, but they will increase.
They will eventually. They will.
That is it's given.
Okay.
So these numbers will rise, and they will really rise. They're already rising, and in fact, if you look at the number of facilities we have, a couple of years back, you would never have dreamt that these are going to be the numbers that you're going to have for the facilities for kidney treatment. But these are going to increase. We are going even to have people doing dialysis at home. Okay?
Because now facilities they can't accommodate this people.
They are really stretched.
Yeah.
In fact, as a country, we should be. I wish I can whip everybody to clap for NHIF and even this country. I mean, we're doing so well as a country. If you compare with most countries, our neighbors, I'm telling you, we're doing good. Especially when it comes to kidney disease.
In terms of treatment affordability?
Yes. Okay, affordability, because at least NHIF, we have an insurance coming in. At first, it was not there. Let me tell you, I was in this when everybody else had to pay cash. It was bad. You didn't want to see that. It was a very bad thing. You would see things happening at the benches and things that I will not.
And there's nothing much you can do about it.
Yeah, and there's
I get you.
Nothing you can do. And it was until sometimes the associations, we came up with associations and all this, and we went to the ministry, we talked to them, and they say, okay, so if it's a serious thing, we can now default even this treatment. It was at first only at Kenyatta. I'm talking of 25 years back when I was starting my career. Yeah. So it's really tough, but and we're moving steadily, because now we have like the nurses group, we have annual outreaches for kidney. We go around the country to do annual screening. Like the next few weeks now, we are going to have our World Kidney Day, which is going to be the first week of March.
7th of March?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and this is going to be a very good media, process of telling people, indeed, there is kidney disease. Please do the basic things. Go to the healthcare next to you. Check your blood sugars. If you have diabetes, make sure you have a nephrologist in place. Bring in another person. Don't stick now with the diabetic person. Move to a nephrologist. Make sure you have a nephrologist alongside. If you have hypertension, make sure you have a nephrologist alongside as you keep the doctor who manages your hypertension. We've mentioned about children at school.
Yes.
This is a very serious thing. This is our future. The future is getting threatened, our children. So one thing that is important is that most of these conditions for children happen as a result of, and not only children, but over-the-counter medication.
Okay.
Treatment over the counter. Most most medications are nephrotoxic, meaning they are toxic to the kidney. So if you continue taking it, you're destroying your kidneys. So I don't know how many children just get infections. They get sore throat, and it's not well treated. That is going to cause what just caused their kidney failure.
Okay, really?
Yeah. Yes, you get sore throat, and it's not treated. It's a bacterial disease, and of course it moves through the bloodstream, and that blood goes with the bacteria, lodges in the kidney, and the bacteria affects the kidney.
So
and nobody knows, it doesn't show you.
So this over-the-counter, I really want to come to nutrition in a bit, but we have to get this one.
Yes.
So this over-the-counter, just the way you're talking about the sore throat, especially in times of colds, you would really hear of such cases, and you're so prevalent to getting amoxicillin to just soothe the throat, and after 5 days, and actually over the counter they'll tell you after 5 days, 7 days, imeisha. So consistent in doing this could actually affect your kidneys?
Yes, in fact, the thing is, we are not privileged to be having amoxicillin. We are disadvantaged
to be having it.
To be having medication over the counter. That's
so you're saying something that I don't really want to call it simple, but just let me. Something as simple as what we call the sore throat, and we know Ampiclox and amoxicillin could treat this. You go to the chemist, you get your dose for 5 days, and we think it's good enough, and actually indeed after 7 days you're good. This has a ripple effect.
Yeah. You see, when you do self-medication, it's usually wrong. It's unprofessional, first of all, because you do not know the dosages. You are not sure whether that condition really reacts to, is sensitive, the bacteria is sensitive to what you're taking. You do not know first whether this is even bacteria or is it bacterial or is it viral. So it's a wrong diagnosis in the first place. Unless if it is prescribed, that's okay. Because you can then go back to the clinician and tell them, okay, I've taken for these days, this is happening, and they can control.
I hear you.
And some medications may not be the right, the dosages are very important. Some dosages are toxic.
I hear you.
So that's it. So I think, like you're putting it, we need to be going now to take our campaigns to schools.
I hear you. That's why you have this day on 7. And you've just oriented my mind to think about having a conversation on over-the-counter drugs and what this means in the long run. But we have about 4 minutes to finish this conversation, and I would want us to do that without talking about nutrition. Donna, you are a renal nutritionist. So we're talking about the kinds of foods that are equally very important for the general public and largely also for people battling kidney disease. What are we looking at in terms of diet?
Okay, renal nutrition is way complicated. Since if you look at a dialysis patient, the fluid intake will be toxic to them. But if you look at the person who has done their transplant, then fluid is best for them.
Okay.
So for renal nutrition, it's something that you need to have your nutritionist working with you, because something simple like a banana can lead to your death.
Sure.
Really?
Yeah. Banana and avocados with a patient who is on dialysis, that is a death sentence to you, because it's so high in potassium.
Okay.
Which is the #1 killer for patients with patients on dialysis or patients with kidney failure.
All right. So even as we talk about fruits and them being good for your health, there are certain categories that don't touch. Don't even look at them.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is specifically for a patient on dialysis.
Yeah.
So for you, you are on dialysis.
Yeah.
So these are fruits that you don't even look at all.
Yeah.
Which ones are better?
A dialysis patient the only fruit which is better for them is an apple. The rest, yes, you can eat, but on a very minimal amount. But for the banana and the avocados, you are not supposed to look at them.
I think that's important because sometimes you go to visit a friend and you've bought all sorts of fruits, and that's how you're not let and dizzy, you know. So just let me look at your plate. How does it look like in terms of a balanced diet? Also, just with the dialysis ongoing.
Okay, my plate will look like. I'm not supposed to take a lot of red meat, not even a lot. I'm not supposed to take red meat in real sense. So my plate mostly is consistent of white meat and a lot of greens, which are also cooked in a special way, not cooked like the other kind of vegetables. Yeah. My greens have to be branched so that I can get rid of some potassium and some urea in them.
Okay.
Then the other thing is that I will be taking maybe some ugari, the carbs, they are okay. But now, whenever you're taking meat, you have to take a very small amount of meat.
This is white meat.
Yeah, even the white meat, still you will take a little amount of white meat, yeah, because of the ureas. Okay, for a dialysis patient, the point is your kidneys are not working. So whatever you take inside your body stream will stay inside there until the next day when you're going for dialysis.
Well, now it makes sense why you talked about alternating, like you can go Monday, skip Tuesday, go Wednesday. That is expensive.
Yeah. Okay, for me, I go to pee after 3 days. That is it.
After 3 days?
Yeah, because I don't pee normally. So the machine is what will assist me pee. So I pay for peeing. If I can put it in a layman's language, I pay to pee.
That which you take as normal.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, we need to have part 2 of this conversation. We are strapped for time in this moment. I want us to talk about the cost implication of dialysis, talk about the transplant, talk about the statistic of living in low-end areas and how this is there's a lot to talk about. But we really have to cover at this particular point. And I definitely appreciate your time, Donna and Dr. Ali, just for your valuable inputs into this conversation. Like I said, part 2 is necessary to explore further and just also let Kenyans know where we are and basically what you can do, to also just assist yourself. Maybe you could prevent this as an individual. Nonetheless, thank you very much.
Okay.
I have been speaking to Ali Kapusia, who's a senior nephrology nurse to my far right, and right next to him is Donna Muguna, who is a renal nutritionist, definitely also just talking to us about her experience battling kidney disease for the past 8 years, where she's been on dialysis for the past 8 years. Good place to end this conversation, and ultimately good morning Kenya from me and on behalf of the entire team. Asante sana, till tomorrow. Good morning.
The National Youth Service will hold its pass-out graduation ceremony on 3rd March 2023. His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, will be the guest of honor during the pass-out parade to be held at NYS Paramilitary Academy in Gilgil, Nakuru County. Follow the proceedings live on KBC Channel 1 on Friday, 3rd March 2023 from 10 a.m. NYS, huduma kwa taifa.